In the not-too-distant present, a challenge unlike any other begins. 3 men, 1 year, 0 game purchases. They stand against temptation, towering backlogs, and the endless lure of digital sales. This is the Year of Shame Challenge. A test of willpower, a battle against impulse, a journey into the heart of unplayed games, where only discipline survives.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of Year of Shame, Season 14. I think it's episode 4. I've been reliably informed. I've been joined by my 2 co-hosts. The co-host with the most professional setup I've seen yet. Hello, Rich.
Hello there.
And the co-host with the most notes I've ever seen, Stu. Hello. Hello to both of you.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Rich. How's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you.
It's good to see you both. It feels like it's been a while. Been a while since the last episode. So, what have you guys been up to? Rich, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. It's been a busy month, so I've been banging on about moving house all year long. It's finally happened. So this month, my gaming list is short, but my activity list is long. I've been managing the house move. I'm in a good place now, so we're all set up. Got my kind of new office, new man cave. But that's come after quite a bit of excitement with the house move. So I kind of tried to make life easier and get professional people in to help with the move. So I'd got people booked to come the day before the move, load up vans, like a proper packing service, that kind of thing. And I got rid of a bunch of old furniture the weekend prior, like things I knew I wouldn't need. So I felt like I was completely on top of the whole job. And I was set to move on a Wednesday. And then on the Monday night, having got literally everything ready to be packed on the Tuesday or already packed, I just had to whiz around the house and take off lampshades, light shades and things like that, because that's part of the deal when you move house. You just leave a bulb in, don't leave the other stuff unless people have asked for it.
Okay.
And unbeknownst to me, because I use these like LifeX kind of Wi-Fi bulbs, so you can change the colour of them and change the brightness and all of that kind of stuff. But what that has the effect of doing is your light can not be on, but your light can also be technically on. So as I was fighting with a slightly troublesome light shade, trying to unscrew it with some very old cabling in the house that was more like jelly than actual cabling, I did one twist too many, and like genuinely set off quite a big explosion, which blew all the electrics in the house and sort of blew myself up a little bit. So my arms were like kind of like twitching and shaking and stuff like that after I'd done it.
Oh dear. Oh my God.
And this was all, literally 36 hours before completion. No electrics. I was worried about there being a fire, this kind of stuff. So I had to call out an emergency electrician. Meanwhile, my arms are sort of tingling and that kind of stuff. So managed to just get hold of some company that were able to come out within the hour and get stuff sorted. So that was good. And then there was the discussion about, well, what do I do? Do I need to go to a hospital? And it's like, this is such bad timing. So I took the ignore it and it'll go away approach. I did make the mistake of Googling, what happens if your arms are kind of red hot and tingling after an electrical incident. And like never Google anything to do with health, because it's like, oh yeah, this will be necrosis. You're basically burning from the inside out and your nervous system is torched and all of that stuff. So obviously I just took the professional approach of like, let's ignore this. Let's see how we're doing in the morning. And it was fine. It did die down, but it was genuinely quite weird because I didn't feel a massive electric shock, but it was like just in the minutes afterwards, I was kind of like, blimey, I must have taken quite a few volts through me at that point. So that was that drama. That got fixed, and then Tuesday was packing day, so we just got this kind of team of people that just come in and just whirlwind through the house and load stuff up. And then got to the point of having to disconnect the washing machine, which again, I was kind of like, well, this is not difficult. It is literally turning a tap off, unscrewing a single thing, and then pulling the thing out. So I did that. But then upon doing that, realized that the kind of shut off tap in my house was unable to actually shut off. So then ensued the water leak, which was unstoppable. So I had to call out emergency plumbers on the night prior to my moving, and exactly the same deal, pay through the nose, people will come out straight away and sort it. So that got sorted as well. So it would have been a really stressful time, but for the fact that we were actually really well prepared and had people to help, which kind of built in the time to be able to deal with all of these crazy disasters that were going on. So to be honest, by the time I moved the next day, I was shot of the old place. It wasn't like an emotional farewell. It was like basically old house, thanks very much and goodbye forever. And then moved into new house, which is just lovely. Like the previous owners have had it for 3 years. They've spent those 3 years basically doing it up, and it's like they've been out and bought one of those home magazines and gone nice ideas of decoration, the kind of thing you look at and go, that's really nice, I could never do that. And that's what I've moved into. It's got this lovely house. It's all like hard floors on the ground floor and carpets upstairs, which I've not been used to. I've always lived in hard floor houses, and it's actually really cozy and nice. And I had the joy of basically building from scratch my gaming room. So it's just started with a complete blank sheet, empty room, and because it's all different shapes to my old room, I've got new desk, new whatever you call the thing that holds your PC stand, I guess. So been doing the kind of flat pack building and like just configured everything. I've got some lovely display posters up on the wall. I've put my soundproofing in because I'm a bit nearer to where the rest of the family are going to be. And I've just made it all really nice, and it's just comfy, cozy. And then I think the only disaster I've had at the new place is in this gaming room, actually. So the carpets are all kind of deep. So what I was finding was once I was sat in my gaming chair and I tried to move, I was essentially it's like being in sand. I just stuck. So I've bought one of these polycarbonate mat things, which is wonderful. I can just kind of freely roll around on the floor here now. But being a bloke who doesn't read instructions, this thing arrived rolled up with a couple of like the kind of tape straps around it, and I could see there was some kind of instructions on it. I was like, oh cool, I'll open it all up and then I'll read those. Logic was not applying at this point. And then cut the cables on this thing, and what was a really tight roll in a nanosecond expanded to be a 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter sheet of bulletproof glass in a room that is not much wider than that. So it just sprang it. It's like too quick to even be shocked. And miraculously, because it's not a big room, it managed to just sort of open into empty space. Whereas if I'd been standing at any different angle, it would have, I don't know what would have happened, because it would have, like the forces of this thing would have had to brace against the PC, the desk, the walls. So I got out of that with just quite a deep cut in my hand. And then obviously once it was open, the instructions were then there to be read. All caps.
Yeah, do not cut.
You need to follow these instructions. This is an incredibly kind of hard and sharp, basically glass-like material. Under no circumstances, just cut the tape. So learning has kind of not happened. But anyway, all's well that ends well there. It's obviously been quite house-centric this month. I've done I talk about fitness every month. I've done literally no fitness stuff because I've just been so busy. But the act of moving heavy boxes in the kind of hundreds of like journeys overall has meant that I've actually hit my target for kind of weight. So I'm 21 pounds lighter than I was at the start of the year. I've hit target weight, and I'm feeling good. So I've obviously been active and have walked up and down flights of stairs so many times that it's kind of replaced any kind of exercise. So that is all good. And the sun has come out here in the UK So yesterday, 19 degrees. It's not like a scorcher, but for April time, that is very nice. So yesterday afternoon, I was saying to Stuart before we hit record, I was working from home in the afternoon, sat in the garden in scorching, bright sunshine with my 170 megabits Wi-Fi connection in the garden, feeling good about life and the move. So that's my month in a nutshell. How about you, Stuart?
Yeah, again, I didn't think I had a busy month, but when I start to list all the stuff down for each of these recordings, there seems to be an awful lot that's on the list. So we started off the month with we had an annual comedy festival down here in Hobart, and we had a couple of comedians come in from overseas, and one of them was a South African comedian called Skulk Poseidon that we went to go and watch, and he was really funny. So that was a good night out. And then about a week later, Lloyd Cole came back to Hobart. He was here about 3 years ago. Came back again. This time, the airline didn't manage to lose his guitar, so he was in a much better mood. Another good night out. He was playing all the hits. So that was a good night. I started building an Arduino-based tape player for my ZX Spectrums, so that I wouldn't have to load up audio tapes. Bought a kit that was going to do that. Realized that the Arduino clone that it used was faulty after I'd soldered it all together. Started again because the PC board on that was then destroyed because I couldn't unsolder it without taking various bits and pieces off. So I decided to make a version that didn't use a pre-printed PC board. Wires everywhere, got it all working, was just about to put it into the 3D case, and then it failed because the board just died. And again, it was a clone Arduino, so not a genuine one. I looked at my collection and thought, should I do a third one? And then thought, no, I'll change directions and I'll build something using Raspberry Pi, because I got all these Raspberry Pis lying around. So I've got a touch screen for that, got a Raspberry Pi out the box, put everything together, finished the build, 3D printed a case for it, and I thought, you know what, I'll send a photo to you guys showing you how good it looks. So I picked it up beside the ZX Spectrums on the wall, and I went and got my phone, and I was taking a photograph of it and dropped the damn thing. And cracked the Raspberry Pi board in half. I was like, no, that's another one in the bin. So the next morning, had to go down to the electronics shop, buy another Raspberry Pi board. It's all now working. The program's all been written from scratch using Python, which I've never really used a lot of before. I'm more of a Perl or Java programmer. And so it was good. It was good fun to do that. It's, oh man, I've just said, again. And for anybody that listened to the last episode, when I listened back to it as part of the pre-work before we published it, I realized that I probably say, about 1 million times a day when I'm doing these sort of recordings, and not so much when I'm just having a chat to, in normal sort of situations. See what happened there? So I apologize. I will try to reduce that down in this episode. But yeah, I got it back up and working. It's got a nice little Python front end, a little GUI that shows you a list of all the ZX Spectrum games, and there's a different directory for Oryx and Dragons and all the other computers from the same age. And you can basically select the one, hit play, and it'll play the audio out through the earphone socket, and you can stream that into your ZX Spectrum or your computer that you've got there and load straight from it. So that was quite a fun little project to get going, even though it needed a lot of iterations to get it right. I got my Science of Cambridge Mark 14 back from the framers, and it looks really good. It's hanging on the wall there behind me. So it's on the wall here with all the other, I think there's about 10 of them on the wall around my office now. I've run out of wall space for all of my computers, so I need a bigger office. But that's a conversation I'll have to have with the family as to which room they want to give up so I can move into that.
That's it. Exactly.
And then my wife pointed out that she needed a space in the garden to do some repotting of plants. And we've got, a couple of little, again, see, we've got a barbecue area and we've got the front garden. It's got a little patio out on it. But there was nowhere that she could just stack up all the garden stuff and go mad and do various potting activities. So I said I'd make her a potting table, and went down to the local hardware shop, picked up some wood, some planks and things for that, and severely overestimated just how robust this thing needs to be. So the planks that I came back with were probably an inch or two too thick for what the use case was going to be. This table is the most solid thing in the house, including the framework of the house. It's going to last for
Robust.
about 1,000 years. Yeah, it's robust as all hell now. Yeah,
It doubles up as an earthquake shelter.
you can definitely hide under it if there's any sort of shaking going on. Yeah, and so that was the month. I've got one other topic that I wanted to talk about here because it was something that I learned about that I'd never heard of before. Have you guys ever heard of Galaxian 3 in the arcades?
It sounds like medication.
So Galaxian was it was almost like a Galaga or a Space Invaders type clone, where you were a little thing down the bottom shooting, and you had these aliens that would drop down and spin around and shoot you while they're going. Galaxian 3 Project Dracoon came out in the 1990s, and I went down this massive rabbit hole on the internet looking at this thing. It's a multiplayer game that supported 28 concurrent players in one room.
28. Oh, that's impressive. Seriously impressive.
It's an entire like large room of itself. And I have never seen anything like that before. So that was something that, like I say, I spent far too long this month just looking at this thing, trying to figure out why it existed and who would ever put it anywhere. Because, I mean, it wasn't a good game. It was just that you could do 28 concurrent players at once. But that was my bits of time that I spent this month on non-direct gaming related activities. What about yourself, Brian?
Let me see. I think last month I hadn't finished, the school year hadn't finished, or was just about to finish. Did I talk about graduation ceremonies?
You were getting ready for the kind of emotion fest that is those ceremonies.
Yeah, so look, they have graduation from elementary school and from middle school. Any time I ever got to graduate was from uni, so we don't do it in schools in Ireland, or didn't anyway. But so we had them, and I knew it was the last day I was going to see these kids. Never going to see them again. And the whole way through, they're all saying, see you next time. It's a phrases they've learned. So I'm like, no, goodbye, because I can't officially tell them that I'm leaving. So I was trying not to get emotional, saying goodbye to the kids, whatever, playing games with them. I had a week off, which they have like a midterm, not midterm break, it's the end of term, and you get a week and then you're back into school. So I started in a new school this year instead of being in multiple schools. I'm in one school, which is really weird, because last year I was 2, the year before I was in 3 different schools on different days of the week. This year, one school, and it feels like I'm going to work. I'm in the same place every day, and it's really odd. It's really, for me, it's now become very odd. But the staff are all really good, really friendly. They chat. They don't know much English, but I don't know much Japanese. But between us and a lot of pointing and stuff, we sort of get through it. There is one staff member who is new. He was in my previous school, and in the 2 years that I was there, he spoke to me twice because he was forced to. No, he spoke to me once, and then he spoke at me another time. So we don't exactly get on, and he's now sitting beside me in this new school, so I'm very, very chuffed on the days. He's now a teacher's teacher, so he's like God. He goes in helping the teachers teach their classes and giving them pointers and stuff. But he's a bit of a dick. If you're listening to this, you are. But we see about the rest of the kid. I've got a whole new bunch of kids from 13 to 15, 16, and they're all pretty good. This is embarrassing. The first grade, so first year in secondary school, are absolutely, it's just like they've been wired, they've got caffeine wired into them, and energy drinks, they're all really, really energetic. And I walk down the corridor and they're all coming up and they're all screaming, "Hello, Brian, hello." And it's the teachers there think it's hilarious because they think I'm being treated like an idol, and the kids all want to go up and chat, which is great because that's my job. But they all keep calling me cute, and it's like, no, I'm not cute. I had this in the previous call, so I have to accept the fact that I have put weight on, and they think round is cute. So yeah, I need to do the exercise routine that Rich is doing. I need to lose weight. Other than that, the kids are all great. I've really enjoyed the classes so far. I've been put in charge of the special needs kids. They have one class, I think it'll be 10 to 15. So I have to go through the curriculum and set up classes for them, design classes, which is not something I've ever had to do before. So it's new, a challenge, and has me extremely nervous, but it'll be fun. I'll have one or two teachers with me for most of the classes, and some special needs teachers in there for the emotional control kids. But they seem to be really cool. I've met up with them twice so far, and just chatting with them. Most of them quite good. Some of them very, very shy, so they hide behind their notebook when they're looking at me. So I picked up another notebook and I was hiding behind it while I was talking to them. They were getting really, really freaked out. He's weird, but yeah. So yeah, no, that's quite good. They're quite cool. Let me see. Other than school, it's cherry blossom season now, which is called Hanami. It's the cherry blossom viewing thing. So you've probably seen pictures of parks where people sit out underneath cherry blossoms. They usually get the newest employee, or the most recent employee, to run out in the morning and find a spot under cherry blossom trees, and that the rest of the company can come out and have lunch then underneath. And if you're the newest employee, you've got a great day. You head out there as soon as work starts, head out there and sit in the park all day waiting for everybody else to turn up. So you bring tarps or blankets, picnic blankets and music, and then they all come out and sit there and have lunch at lunchtime.
Cool.
And then you just get to tidy up.
That's really nice.
It's a nice day. But it's quite crazy. So we went to a park that is, it's probably about 3/4 of an hour away from us. My wife had seen it on the internet. And the picture's amazing. So we thought there's loads of trees. We turned up and there's probably about 50 to maybe to 100 trees all throughout this park. And the park is huge. But they're spread out. So just nice little sections, everything again. So we didn't think, we wanted to see more. So we went up. We went to Nagano. It's about 3 hours west from here. The trains don't really go that. The trains go near, but they don't actually go into that area. So because it's up in the mountains, so we got a bus from Shinjuku in central Tokyo and all the way out. And it's a Japanese bus tour. So I'm the only foreigner sitting on the bus. And it's this really weird Japanese vibe because everybody is all sitting there. They all have their little lunch boxes. The bus brings you along. And every time we hit a service area on the motorway, we stopped for people to go to the toilet because there was like an older clientele on the bus. So, but it was good. We got up into the mountains, into really rural areas, and got whole sides of mountains that are just covered in cherry blossoms. The views were amazing.
Amazing.
We think of cherry blossoms being like, especially back in Ireland, they're on the street or they're all planted. But over here, they're wild. So you'll have sides of mountains that are like dark green or different colours of green, and then you have like maybe 10 or 20 cherry blossoms just in one section. It looks really weird. It looks really good, very beautiful. When we did the trip, we stayed in a hotel, and about these Japanese toilets, advanced, super advanced. I swear they've got AI in them or something. But you walk into the toilet and the lid opens up automatically for you. So you're like, this is nice. If you stand there in front of it long enough, the seat will pop up. But if you're going to do, as a comedian used to say, Russ Abbott, a wee jobby. I think that's what he used to say. You sit down on it. And it's really weird because as soon as you sit down, lights come on underneath you, and the whole bowl is just lit up. And I'm like, why are you lighting it up? Is there a camera down there or something? I'm going to end as a fan going, the spray's going. I was like, what the fuck I don't know what's going on. Well, I'm going to end up on some OnlyFans website with this. It's just gone really weird.
And it's always warm as well. I'm like,
yeah,
it just doesn't feel right.
Just been
Why
there.
is it heating it?
Yeah, it's not just the seat that's warm. The water afterwards that washes you is warm. But yeah, But anyway, you sit in the toilet, you do your business, and as you want to clean, you gotta, I don't know about you, but reach around the back, And in order to reach around the back, you lean forward. And as soon as extra light gets in, it thinks you've stood up, and it starts flushing. I was like, okay, that's grand. But then the lid starts to come down on top of me. And I'm being swallowed by this toilet. This thing keeps coming down and hitting me on the back. And there's a button on the side of on the wall that you tap to get the lid to open up. I'm hitting that trigger, it opens up, and then as soon as I lean forward again, the thing comes down, smacking me on the back, trying to swallow me the whole time. I'm using the toilet, and the toilet flushing the whole time. So AI toilets are scary. They're trying to eat us, like one of the big snakes trying to grab you. Yeah, just really weird. So I don't know, a crazy toilet. Let me say, other than the toilets, we took a drive up north, about an hour and a half from here. It's where my wife's mother used to live. It's a small city called Sano, and it has my favorite cafe in this country. So we went up and took a drive around and headed to the cafe. And the cafe was set up in 85, I think it was. There's this old guy running it. It looks like his wife is there as well, and maybe some grandchildren running around serving in it. It has maybe 6 seats. And it's usually reasonably busy because it's just a neighborhood. It's in the middle of a housing estate, for what you would call a housing estate if it had been organized better. But it's just really weird. You go in, he's roasting beans. He does competitions in Tokyo and stuff, and he does really well. But when he gets bored, or when he's finished roasting beans, he takes out a guitar and starts to serenade people. So he starts singing old Japanese rock songs or Elvis songs. It's just it's really, really bizarre. But he's really nice. And, well, he's chatted to my wife. I was like, my Japanese with him is not that good. But yeah, it's just a really nice place. And that's the only other thing we've news from here is that we've had yet more earthquakes. So I think next week, I've got some boxes to the left of me here. We have to open up. It's our earthquake supplies. Because of the earthquake, they've said that we should have a week's supply of food in case the army can't get to you. So we're going to go through, make sure everything's in date, and add in more food stuff. One of them's full of water, one of them's full of food, and I don't know what the other one's in, but yeah. So we'll have to add more. The realities of living in an earthquake world. Well, yeah, that's...
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's a bit of the latest earthquake. We didn't feel it, even though it was quite large. But it's very odd. Japan has got, I think it's 4 or 5 plates. It's all lined on. And then you've got what they call them? The fault lines. So if you can be right beside where an earthquake is, but if your piece of ground is actually stable, you won't feel all that much. Or you could be 100, 200 miles away and still feel it. So the earthquake 2 years ago, that's maybe 400 or 500 miles away. We felt that quite bad. But the one the other day, despite being bad, we didn't feel it at all. So it's quite weird. And that's basically all the news from here. Who wants to go next? What programs have you watched? Or
I'll go next. Yeah,
you've got your organised list, your organised notes.
So this month, what have I watched? Quite a lot somehow. And again, I don't know quite how this happened because I don't think I watch a lot. But there's 2 YouTubers called Ludwig and Michael Reeves who did that Tip to Tip Japan that we talked about previously. They're now going through from the south of China to the north of China, which is like 3,000 kilometers with no maps, no GPS, and no Chinese language skills. It was a good fun watch, completely unscripted, some quite good moments, and an interesting insight into how Chinese people treat rules. So they're talking to a whole bunch of guys that they meet, and every so often they get told the same thing over and over again. It's, if the rules don't say you're not allowed to do it, do it.
Okay.
So there'll be a road they're traveling down, and there'll be a big bollard in the middle of it saying road closed, but there's no sign saying you can't go around the bollard. So they'll just go around it and carry on going. It's more of a guide than a rule, you know?
Yeah.
So that was a good watch. I carried on watching The Man in the High Castle. I think I'd got through like 4 episodes in the last month. So this month I've watched the remaining 36 episodes, all 4 seasons. The end of season 3 was genuinely the end of where they should have stopped the story. Season 4, you just got the feeling that they'd run out of ideas. They were killing off one main character every episode, and it was like, I don't see where this is going anymore. It ended okay, but it was very definitely the end. I mean, there's never going to be a season 5. It was finished. So it was an enjoyable watch, despite that last season just being that little bit weird, you know? And then I think, Richard, in the last episode, you'd mentioned Inside the Manosphere, the Louis Theroux
Yes,
miniseries. So I watched that, and that was eye-opening. That was really eye-opening, to the point where, I mean, all the young guys that he's actually interviewing are all the same age as my son. And
Right.
so it made me quite worried. So I ended up going around to my son and saying to him, do you know who these guys are? I mean, do you follow any of them? And language warning in advance. His response was, why would I follow them? They're all CUNTS, you know?
That's reassuring.
So,
at least.
That was very reassuring to me, yeah. But it's worrying to think that there's that view out there of people living their lives with that approach to the opposite sex, and not just sexist, but homophobic, racist. Everything was in that sort of mentality that these guys were living their lives according to, and I did that was quite eye opening to me, as I say, but well worth the watch. I think it's something that everybody should at least be aware of. I finally got around to watching Micromen, which was a mockumentary that came out in 2009. And it's the story of Sinclair and Acorn back in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Oh, wow.
It stars Martin Freeman and Alexander Armstrong. Alexander Armstrong wearing the worst orange wig or bald cap wig that you've ever seen. And Martin Freeman playing what seems to be exactly the same role as he played as Tim in The Office. But again, it sort of fitted the storyline, so it was a good single view, and that was just on YouTube. So it wasn't like you had to have a subscription service to watch it. There was a couple of things that they did get wrong, and again, this is just me being, you know, a Spectrum fanboy. But when you're doing a mockumentary on the Spectrum, and you see them typing load, open quote, close quote, and hit and enter, at least show us a Spectrum loading screen and not a Commodore 64 one.
Oh.
And they had a shot of it was supposed to be a computer show from 1979. And so they're going around showing you all these people to try to sell these very, very basic computers back in 1979. And then as the camera pans across, there's 2 kids sitting playing on an Amstrad CPC 464 that probably only came out in about 1986, 87. So again, maybe just dial it back, Stuart, and don't take things so seriously. That's more on me than on them.
You need a job as a consultant for them.
Exactly, yeah. The Boys season 5 has started up again. Again, it's the same as over-the-top violence and gore as the previous 4 seasons. This is going to be the last season. It's supposed to be superhero sci-fi absurdism. Unfortunately, though, the storylines that they're showing you in this season mirror what we're seeing in the US government, almost image by image. I mean, everything that they do that seems so stupid and over the top, we're actually seeing in the news as well. So it's worrying, and this was all filmed sort of 6 months ago, so it's not like it's current that they're leeching off of. But it's weird that real world is now emulating what used to be something that was unimaginable, you know?
Yeah, that's...
Deadlock. I know we spoke about Deadlock before, Brian. It was filmed there. Season 1 was filmed around my part of the world. In fact, a lot of the scenes came from a local beach. Season 2 is on Amazon Prime now. It's an Australian comedy murder mystery. series. This one is set up in Darwin, the opposite end of Australia from where I am. And Darwin's got this famous competition between the two jumping croc companies that operate for tourists out there. There's the original jumping crocs and there's the superior jumping crocs, so the two companies that operate. But they've had to subdivide the river up, so they're not allowed to step on each other's toes and infringe each other's little sort of footprints. And this series plays off of that an awful lot. You know, the whole murder that happens is associated with the crocodile tourist boats. It's quite comedic in the same way that season 1 was. If you enjoyed season 1, I can definitely recommend season 2.
Yes, Deadlock season 1 was amazing. It was a really good show. Yeah, I will try and watch that next month.
Yep.
Season 2 is quite good. Looking forward to it.
And then, based on that sort of vein of miniseries, Netflix's How to Get to Heaven from Belfast came up. And going into this one, I knew nothing at all about it. The story is, it's from 2026. It's on Netflix, as I say. 3 friends get together to remember a 4th friend that's passed away. There's a lot of sort of, you never know quite what's happening from episode to episode. The first episode, it came across as like a mix of Derry Girls and Knives Out murder mystery.
Oh wow!
You know, there's comedy there, and it's about, like I say, it's based in Ireland. As the episodes went on, each character sort of was fleshed out, and the actors grew into their characters, so there was more comfort in the way they were presenting them, and less overacting. And it ended up being very similar to Deadlock. Really enjoyed that as well. So that's what I've been watching. When it comes to reading, I'm still on the Wheel of Time. My Kindle's telling me that I'm now 75% of the way through book 8. I'm probably back to doing 1 paragraph a night before my eyes just slow down and shut completely. So it's not quite as fast a walkthrough as it was the last time, but we're progressing through. You know, we're up to 75%. So that's probably as much as I did this month.
So, Rich, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I guess I might have done a bit more telly and books and stuff because I was with the move, I was kind of without internet for probably 8, 9, 10 days. I managed to get a few things kind of downloaded onto a tablet so that I could cope. And certainly the kids, they had plenty of stuff downloaded to help them survive a very testing week in their lives. So telly-wise, and I guess it's a little bit related to the Louis Theroux Manosphere thing. I do watch John Oliver does like a satirical news thing Last Week Tonight. So that's kind of weekly, except for when they don't make up episodes. They'll do weekly and then they'll stop for a month. But there's one particular one that they were focusing on Twitter/X and how it's evolved since basically it became monetized. And it kind of runs in parallel almost to that Louis Theroux thing where there's, you know, people are generating content just for the purposes of engagement, aka money. And that was really eye-opening. I mean, it's a really good show. It's probably not a good show if you're a pro-Trump, because it's very much taking the opposite stance. But I find that every episode, whilst they'll be kind of like taking the mick out of people and generally kind of roasting right-wing politicians, but they will always deep dive into a really well-researched topic, and it can be something completely random, you know, a random government department or talking about a certain medication or whatever it might be. But they'll always deep dive into something and give you like genuine like education about what the issues are and what the options are to make things better. So I find that quite a kind of galvanizing thing to watch. With the world going mad, there's moments of hilarity and hope contained within that program.
Yeah.
And then series wise, I watched. So BBC have run a kind of, I think it was 6 parts episodic thing of Lord of the Flies, which I watched. I think that's a book that I was probably made to read as a kid and probably didn't read it. So I feel like I'm playing, you know, catch up from several decades ago, and it was slightly pretentiously done, but generally pretty well acted. Obviously, entire cast of children basically running through the story. I can't say how close it is to the book, but the themes definitely seem to be the right sort of themes, and that was good fun. What else have I watched? Night of the Seven Kingdoms, again, 6-part series in the House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones world. It's not really a prequel; it's a standalone based before events of the other series, and really good. Little short, tight episodes, about half an hour each, written with some humour. It kind of stood on its own. It didn't feel like a needless spin-off. It was its own short story and good fun. And then what else? I've planned through more. These are the ones I downloaded. So more Parks and Recreation that I was talking about. Good comedy. So I've watched all of season 3, which was like 20 episodes, all of season 4, that was about 20 episodes. And I'm a good way through season 5. Again, they're just little 20-minute hits where it's like, I don't want to go to bed yet. So one more thing. Movies-wise, so I made a promise to the kids that we'd watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We watched the first one at Christmas time. I think the rest of them watched The Two Towers during a school holiday when I was working. So I was given some homework whilst they were away at Easter. I was given homework to catch up and watch The Two Towers, which I very much enjoyed. And then we all together watched Return of the King.
Yep.
Yeah.
The third one last weekend. And I always remember it as being absolutely epic. And I just remember like sobbing at the end and that kind of stuff. And it was weird this time around. I don't know whether I've watched it just too many times now, but I found the third one a real drag this time because it is a long movie and I obviously know what happens. And it does do that thing where you think it's going to end and then there's like another 45 minutes of extra stuff and then you think it's going to end again and there's more. So I didn't enjoy it as much this time around, but it's nice to have watched it all together.
So we're doing The Hobbit next?
Game. I don't know. I've only ever watched the first Hobbit, and I think once you've got through the trilogy, it's kind of like, right, I'm done now. I've done this world, but you never know. Maybe.
Are they doing a new one?
They are making a new one, yeah.
Search for Gollum or something.
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien is involved. I think it was Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
Either that or it was April Fool's Day and I read a weird article, I don't know.
No, they're definitely making a new one. When I think they were saying that Viggo Mortensen is the only one that's not going to be coming back for his role. But they're trying to get all the rest of them back.
Oh, great. Interesting. Yeah, I'll look out for that.
Should be interesting, yeah.
I've been playing a little bit of board games. So there's a game, I don't know whether I've talked about it before, but I must talk about it. It's called Flip 7. And it's just essentially a deck of cards. It's a combination between, if you've heard of it, Pass the Pigs. If you've heard of that, it's a little push your luck game where you roll little rubber pigs basically and score points depending on whether they land snout first or on their backs or whatever. But it's a really great game that's good for whatever crowd you've got. So if you've got kids, it's easy enough to understand. If you've got parents who kind of don't want to invest in learning rules, or if you've got a bunch of mates or whatever, it's really good. I'll describe it quickly. You just get a great big deck of cards, and in that deck, there is one card with the number 1 on it, 2 with the number 2, 3 with the number 3, and so forth, all the way up to 12. So it's 12 12s. And the object of the game is you basically just get dealt a card, and then you get a choice each time whether to hit or stick. And if you get duplicate cards, you're out. And if you stick, you can bank the points that you've currently got. So there's, it's kind of mathematically based. If you've got a 12 in front of you, A, you've got some points, but B, you stand the strongest chance of getting a duplicate. And once and if you get 7 unique numbered cards in front of you, you bank all of those points, the round ends, and you get some bonus points as well. So there's a kind of incentive to push, but you don't have to. And then thrown into that, there's just a few little kind of wild card things where you can freeze somebody else, or you can force somebody else to have to draw 3 more cards with no opportunity to bank in the middle. And then I think there's like an extra life card, which you can keep for yourself, and then obviously use it if you get duplicate and carry on. So it plays really, really quickly, and you just whizzing around the table, just kind of like stick, hit. And first to 200 points wins. Great fun. Takes about 10 minutes per round to play. It's dirt cheap. You get it off Amazon for $10. Highly recommend it if ever you find yourself with probably 3 other people wanting to fill a few minutes. So we've played a few rounds of that. And then in book news, I was complaining a bit about Wolf Hall in previous months and how it was a bit of a drag. And I think I've channeled my Stuart vibes, and I've said to I had a word with myself. I was like, I might hate this, but I'm still going to invest the time and finish it. So during the house move, I made sure that I found time whilst there was no internet to get it finished, which I did. And I have to say, there's so much fuss about this book meant to be good, and it just isn't. I didn't vibe with it at all. I found it snobbishly kind of assumed that you knew all the history, which luckily I did. So, but it's only through remembering what I was taught when I was like 13 that I knew what was going on, not because of the book. And I did some kind of Googling to work out whether this was a thing, and that is apparently a feature of Hilary Mantel, the author. She likes to just not explain anything and let the reader do their stuff. And I find it really obtuse and unfun. So having finished that, I picked up a book called 1,000 Blues, which is a Korean sci-fi. And it was instantly better, a pleasure to read. It was kind of futuristic, all about essentially robot jockeys in the future. So they'd kind of designed lightweight robot jockeys so that the horses could run faster. But it very much wasn't really a sci-fi. It was all about the people and the animals, and how, was it fair to let horses literally run themselves into the ground because they're going, that much faster and having tiny short careers. And yeah, it was really good. And I knew it was such a relief coming to that after Wolf Hall, because the author described what was happening and who was talking. So it was very easy to follow. So I enjoyed that very much and finished that as well. And I've now moved on to a book called Stoner, which is not what you think. Well, it's not so far what you think it is. It's just a story based around First World War times about a guy who's a teacher. And again, it's just nice, good characters, well described. Not a whole lot happening, but delightful to read. So I've had quite a good month in terms of all those other types of media. Very enjoyable. How about you, Brian?
Let me see. I watched Mayor of Easttown. My brother told me many years ago to watch this show. Do you know this? Do you guys know it?
No.
I feel like I've heard of it,
Easttown.
but not seen it.
It was really good. It's basically a small town cop has been working on a missing girl case. She's not gotten very far. More start to go missing, and like an FBI, I think it's the FBI agent, turns up to help to work with her, and you get to see, or you get to experience what it's like to be to live in a small village in America. The story is really well told. There are some minor surprises, but it's quite good. I like this. A pretty good show. I think it was only one season though, so I can't remember how many episodes. I then watched the movie called Rezball, which is REZBALL, 2 words I think. It's basically a feel good teen movie that's not all that good. That's what to be honest. It's set on a Native American or First Peoples reservation in America. It's about its school basketball team, or they call it reservation ball team, and trying to reach the finals of a basketball competition. And it's okay. I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. Let me see. After that, I watched Alice in Borderlands. Well, I watched season 3. It's based on a Japanese manga. They made a live action version. It's the first. Quite simply, just watch the first 2 seasons. Do not watch the 3rd season. It's a bit like Lost. It does not stick the ending at all. So watch the first 2, walk away with it. Do not watch any more. It's basically people wake up in Tokyo and there's nobody around them. The place is deserted, and then they're invited to games in which they die if they don't win. That's basically season 1 and 2, but just told better. Let me see. After that, do I say let me see a lot?
No more than I say,
No. Well, I watched. This is a really weird movie I watched, movie. Did you read about Erskine Fogarty? That's the title.
Sounds familiar. Why does that sound familiar?
Did you ever hear Blind Boy or Blind Boy Boat Club? Irish comedian, podcast star, and songwriter. This book was a short story. It's set just after the Celtic Tiger crashed in Ireland about 2008, roughly. It's this guy who had set his whole life based on what he had bought. He has his wife, he has his 2 kids going to private schools. He has a fancy car. He has an American refrigerator, and it's all like status symbols. And because of the crash, he loses everything. And he decides he's not going to lose his American refrigerator because this was his major status symbol. It has the ice cubes and the door and stuff, that type of thing. So he basically drags it to his former home in Limerick, which is from Dublin. I don't know how many 100 miles. It's basically across the country and down a bit. He wants to bring it home to show his neighbours how successful he has been, and his mind starts to crack as he's dragging it down, and it's just really weird. He starts quoting all these crazy facts about things. It's very odd, very, very odd, and it's if you've got nothing to do, it's a good watch, but it's difficult to recommend it. Let me see. I started and finished the final season of Stranger Things. It's a return to form as far as I'm concerned. Speaking about sticking the ending, I thought it did. Season 4, I didn't think was that good. The final is season 5, is it? Whatever the previous season wasn't, didn't think that was that good. Was it? I don't know. The one with the Russians, whatever season that was, I didn't think it was that good. This season was pretty good. You aren't really sure what's happened at the end, but they sort of leave things a bit fuzzy about what really happened at the end. But my whole issue with the final season is that the kids are supposed to be in junior high school and they look like adults because it's taken so long to make this show. 7 is definitely not the child she was at the waif at the start, where she was like, she looked like she was only 7 or whatever, 11. Now she's was her name 11?
Late 20s, yeah.
I can't remember her name. Not 7. I can't remember her name even. But yeah, whatever. They've grown up so much.
Yeah.
The kids look really tall, and they're big and beefy, and it's just no. But other than that, the show this season was quite good. It finished it off quite well. I watched the new Hypeness Project Hail Mary. Overall, it was a pretty good movie. I can't even remember the name of the actor in this. Was it Ryan Reynolds? Maybe, I don't know. I can't remember his name. It's definitely overlong. It's like 2.5 hours long. It could definitely lose at least 30, maybe even closer to 50 minutes of it. It'd be much better. It just goes too long. It's based on a book, and I believe the book has 2 halves to it. Him dealing with loneliness, and then it becomes more of a buddy type movie. If you've watched the trailers, it's already spoiled how it becomes a buddy type movie, but the movie basically focuses on that buddies type movie section. I'm trying not to give it away, but if you've watched the trailer, you know what happens. It is pretty good, but yeah, it's, I don't know, it's pretty good. Let me see. After that, then again, let me see. I also watched Rental Family. This is a movie based in Japan. I think
that's Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I need to write down actors' names. I think it's Brendan Fraser. Yeah. From IMDb, it's basically a struggling American actor in Tokyo is trying to find a purpose. He lands an unusual gig working for Japanese rental family agencies, which do actually exist. He plays stand-in roles for strangers. He rediscovers his purpose and all that nonsense. He takes a role of being a husband in a marriage to a lady. It's a fake marriage, but it's still the family thinks the lady's got married, but actually she's going to end up with, she's gay, and she doesn't have to tell her parents that she's gay, and so it helps her get, and she's told the family she's moving to Canada. She can then live on the other side of Tokyo with her gay partner and not have to worry about it. And there's loads of these little things about help when a mother wants to get her child into an elementary school. So over here you have like your public schools. You also have private ones. Some of them are quite low standard, some of them are really high. But some of the universities have high schools, and they have middle schools, and they have elementary schools. So if you get your child into a university's own elementary school, they will then progress through all of that, and they will get into the university without any problems. They'll get into it much easier. They won't have to do the exams to apply to get in. They just move along. They call them elevator schools. So if you can get your child into the junior high school, then the same thing will happen. They move up. They are expensive to get your kids into, so you're paying a lot to get your child through to the university. So it is, we've actually got one not so far away, but it is quite crazy. But to get your child in, you need to have a family unit. A single parent with a child doesn't look good, so they won't pass the interview. So this lady hired Brendan Fraser to be her husband, because her child was what they call half-fu over here, half American, half foreigner, half Japanese. And so he had to pretend he was the child's father. They actually pretend in the movie, they pretend to the child that he's actually the father as well. So she's never met her father, and that way the child acts more convincing in the movie, or in the interview. So it's sort of based on real life experiences. What will happen? The movie is quite good. I liked it overall, to be honest. This whole rental family thing helps. It gives you an alternative to cope with situations that should be better addressed through counselling or just being honest. But I don't know, it works. The movie is quite good. And if you're expecting American schmaltz, because I think it is American, it's not an American movie, it's a Japanese movie, so there's no American schmaltz. The ending of it isn't all this like syrupy sweetness, which is good. It's like a cross between the European and American, because European movies just give you no real ending. Everything's left open to your judgment. The Japanese tend to give you a bit more closure. So I was a huge fan of European cinema growing up, and a load of movies just don't have a proper ending. So this gives you it closes the movie out, but it doesn't spell everything out to you. So I liked the movie. It was quite good. I've also been watching, I haven't finished yet, Dan, which is an anime. It's quite good. I'm enjoying it. I mentioned I started a new school. The kids have been recommending anime to me that they like. One of them's called Hunter. Actually, in Japanese, Hunter, which is basically Hunter x Hunter. And I didn't realise it's got like 80 episodes or maybe more. And I started watching it. Watched the first 2. It's okay. I think maybe if I started watching it many years ago when I was younger, it might be okay. I started watching one called Dr. Stone, and that's not bad. That's okay. There's a really annoying character in it, but so I watched that. And that's all I've been watching. I'm reading Brains by Eric S. Piotrowski, better known as Duke Scath, or Duke on the Veteran Gamers. I've got the book here so I can read the blurb at the back. Nasha she's building a life. Basically, the book is called Brains, or How to Survive Apocalyptic Bibliophilia. It's basically somebody trying to build a library after the apocalypse when there's zombies roaming the earth, and it's actually quite good. I've been caught off guard with some of the reveals going through it. It's quite good. I like it so far. I'm just over halfway. I'm enjoying it. Good read. And then the only other thing, we're talking about shows that come from lots of different networks. And I listened to a podcast called Darknet Diaries. Don't know if you know it. It's basically all about the dark side of the internet. And it's a guy, he interviews people that have been previous hackers or on the security side. And this was about an episode called Superbox. It was just released. And these are boxes that you could buy on Amazon or in Walmart. And there's boxes you plug into your TV and give you all the channels, give you everything. You know, the dodgy box is what they call them. These, apparently part of it, they're full of viruses. They hook into your network. They attack everything on the network. Your network, so they'll go for your PC. If you bring your work PC home, they get infect that, so that you bring it into work and it gets on the networks. These things are really fucking dangerous. I've been trying not to use bad language. That's the only time. So, kids, if you're listening, do not get any of these dodgy boxes. They're really suspect.
Yeah.
But like people have in America, they have limits on their upload and whatever. One of these super boxes was uploading. I think it was 100 gig every couple of days, just being uploaded.
Oh.
So where it was coming from, I don't know. They're all part of botnets and stuff, attacking websites or whatever. So if anybody's listening, be really careful about getting these dodgy boxes. But anyway, there you go. I've schooled people. Other than that, that's all I've been watching. So we'll go to playing. And while we're doing playing, I'm going to mute and start closing because it's just hitting noon. Well, not noon, sunset here. I'm going to close the curtains, but I'm in, put the lights on. So, Rich, you said you hadn't got many. So if we go to Stuart first, so I've got time to get around. So Stuart,
Sure.
You got an hour or so now.
Yeah, you got an hour. Yeah.
Put the kettle on as well.
All right. Well, this month I've played.
Back in a moment.
Okay, go for it. This month I've played 10 different games to varying degrees of success. I started off with my two, perennial games that I'm playing, Baldur's Gate 3 and Clear Obscure, and I'm just not progressing on them at all. Baldur's Gate 3, I think I'm going to have to backtrack quite a bit and take another attack vector on it because I'm just completely stuck. I'm not progressing anywhere at all there. Clear Obscure.
Are you stuck with a boss, or are you stuck just unable to progress story?
No, it's on a boss. You get to this point where you have to go and find this hammer to defeat the eventual end boss. And as soon as you pick up the hammer, this guy who's like a devil says he's going to get you, and you got to save this little hobbit thing that he's capturing or holding as a hostage. And so when I go and rescue her, by the time I get her rescued, I've used up all of my mini camps that I'm allowed to get my health back. I've used up all of my magic attacks, and all I've got left is this piss poor sword that I can then attack him with. And so I've got nothing left in the pocket to actually do the main attacks that I need to. So I'm going to have to go back and try and figure out another way of actually getting to the point where I can get to him and I've rescued her and I've still got something left in the tank to actually use against him. So that was the first one where it made me doubt my sort of ability to be a gamer. I then thought, right, I'll go back to Clear Obscure. And the note I've got here is I am no longer enjoying this.
Oh no!
I was just getting beaten every time I tried it. My reflexes weren't fast enough to do, parries. I then realized that I was playing the game completely incorrectly. I was using everyone as an attacker rather than dedicating one to be a healer, one to be an attacker, one to be a magic, or whatever it needs to be,
Okay.
So I need to go back there and relook at that and equip my guys with the little boosts that you get that are affiliated with the role I'm expecting them to play on every single encounter. So that'll be a task for next month.
Top tip for me then when I start.
Yeah.
Whenever I start.
Yeah. Wreckfest every week on Thursdays. I'm not making every single week, but those that I do join is still really good fun with my mates down here. Wreckfest 2 is out on the PC. I don't think it's come out on PS5 yet, but we're still stuck on Wreckfest 1 and we're still really enjoying that. Yeah, I mean, that game has just got years of content in it. You could just keep going and playing the same tracks over and over again, and you still wouldn't be anywhere near as good as some of the guys that join our games as randoms. There's probably
Are your buds going to wait for 2027 before? Because presumably you'll all move together to Wreckfest too. It would be pretty savage if they did it now and left you just flailing around.
Knowing them, they'll just move on.
Has that sown the seed of the idea now?
No, they're good guys. They'll most likely they'll flip flop between them. So maybe half the Thursday night session they'll do Wreckfest 2 if it is available and fully fledged and a full release and not just the beta that's out there now. And then we'll switch back to Wreckfest to give me a chance to at least have some fun.
Yeah,
I reckon you might find it in your library at some stage.
I reckon. Yeah. In that line, none of us have had a joker. None of us have had a gift. So there is still some capacity to actually join those games if I need to, albeit at the cost of a klaxon. So, other than Wreckfest, I was in this real funk, and I thought I'm just not enjoying what I'm doing this month. I picked a game called We Happy Few to play this month as one of the ones on my list. It was originally banned in Australia because the game focuses on taking this drug called joy to fit in with society, and the Australian age rating guys took a very firm stance on the fact that that's not, you can't have a game where the main focus is taking drugs. So it was originally banned, and then they eventually let it through, and so it appeared on my list somewhere, but was never actually played. I fired it up, and it's a game in 3 parts. The first part, you're this guy who's trying to break free of this restrictive society that's all focused on taking drugs. I worked my way all the way through that. It's got a lot of interesting missions you can do and a lot of map exploration. So it was okay playing through. It certainly wouldn't have been a game that I would have raved about to anybody. But you get to the end, that guy finishes his missions, and then the second character that you play starts up, and it's in the same timeline, just running in parallel with his story. But in this one, you're his ex-girlfriend, and you've got to do similar missions, but at the same time, you've got a newborn baby that you have to keep rushing home to feed because babies are banned in this society. So you can't take it out with you. So you end up running across the map and then running back because you run out of time to feed the baby, to go back and run to the other end of the map to do something else. And it just got quite frustrating very quickly. Because you're not doing anything different. You've just got this added complexity. And then I managed to complete her bit, and the third act started up. And in the third act, you're an old, grumpy, type 1 diabetic that everybody hates. And that was just, it was like, I felt heard, you know? It was like, this is about me? So you were doing the same missions, but you had to keep finding sugar to boost your blood glucose levels, and you had to take injections at various points of the game as well to make sure you didn't sort of, go too high and go into a coma. And it was like, this is not fun. This is real life.
And is it like game over screen if your insulin gets too high, or if the baby doesn't get its dinner kind of thing?
Yeah. So I didn't enjoy the game, is the short answer, but I completed it. I finished all 3 storylines, rolled credits, and that one went on the list of games that are completed, probably not going to be looked at again. Then I thought, I'm going to have to find something that's a wee bit sort of, light and airy, not complicated. And I found that on my Epic Store, I had Crashlands listed there. And it looked like a game that was very similar to a game that I played last year called The Collector. It was on PlayStation Plus. And effectively what you're doing there is you're going around the map and you're collecting various bits and pieces. And there's an element of collect 10 of these to make one of those, collect 10 of those to make one of these, and just continuing to build up the complexity of things in your inventory. This one's quite similar. You've crash landed on a planet. You're trying to get the satellite dish that you need to communicate back to your home planet from the big bad baddie. I played maybe about 30 hours of it and just didn't enjoy it. And then I got to the first big boss battle where he's got your satellite dish, and I just can't do it. It's another one that goes on the list of games that I'm not good enough to do. So
Giving it a fair crack, though.
I cut my losses on that one. Yeah, 30 losses, that was it. I just couldn't do it. I didn't know what I was missing. There's no real skill level that you can get a better weapon or do different things. You have what you have, and you just got to somehow beat this guy, and I couldn't. So I got into this spawn, shoot, die cycle that I just wasn't enjoying. So then I thought, okay, let's go back even easier than this and play a game called Walker on the Commodore Amiga. And Walker was one that my mates that had Commodore Amigas used to talk about as being a fantastic game. You're like a big Ed 209 robot from RoboCop, and you're
nice.
walking across this map, side-scrolling, and all these little enemies are coming at you, and you've got to just try and get as far as possible. And when I played it, that was the entire scope of the game. You're walking left to right, you're an overpowered robot, and you've got these little characters that are maybe 6 pixels high walking towards you that you just mow down with your machine gun. And I did 2 full levels of that and realized the third level was going to be the same, and just thought, nah, boring. Shut it down, not doing any more of that. So it really wasn't a good month for games. And then I thought, let's try The Witcher 2. I loved The Witcher 3. The Witcher 2 has been sitting on my list, again, from God knows where. I started it up, and I loved it. I absolutely loved this game. The game itself is more of a visible corridor game than The Witcher 3 is. You know, you can tell you've only got one way of going from here to there, and the map is locking you down to that direction until very late in the game when it all starts to open up. The cutscenes are just phenomenal in their movie qualityness. You know, there's, for the age of the game, 2011 game, it's aged really, really well. The graphical engine has still got all the chops it needs. You can see the shared heritage of a game that became Witcher 3. So there's a couple of clunky bits in terms of how you're managing, you know, your inventory and how you're actually navigating around the map. But other than that, it was a really good game. And so I played all the way through that, completed it, rolled credits, add it on the list of games completed.
How long did that take?
I don't know. It would probably have been about 40 hours again.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
it wasn't true games so fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of hours here.
Whenever I check HL, like how long to beat, it says, well, like 10 hours to beat a game. I know it'll take me twice, whatever is on there. But I think it's HLTB is based on you, because you get through games so fast. You message, I'm going to play Witcher 2, and then it's like a week later, I finished it.
Done.
It's like months I put into these games, and I'm trying to get through them. And you're dedicated. I don't know how you do it. It's amazing, really amazing.
The problem with The Witcher 2 was I didn't play it through Play Night. I just directly loaded it up. It's okay, maybe. It's telling me I only played 24 hours.
Wow.
But I don't know. That was on Steam, so I might have just been launching it directly from Steam, and then Play Night doesn't actually record the hours. So let's say somewhere between 24 and 40 hours.
Okay,
it's good.
So that was good. The next game I looked at was Tempest 4000. You can't go wrong with Tempest 4000.
Before you go any further,
go ahead, Brian.
How long? The Witcher 2 has how long to beat? Oh, it's just 33 hours. So you were basically, you are how long to beat.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't believe you get through games at the same rate as them. Sorry, I'll let you back, but there's something obviously wrong with the way I play games. But
yeah,
go on.
But you're enjoying them more. You're doing all the little side quests. I did all the side quests for the first chapter of The Witcher 2, and then the second the second chapter I did maybe half the side quest, and the third chapter I just pushed through to the end.
Yeah. Well, fair play to you.
So yeah, Tempest 4000. I had that on Amazon Games as part of my Amazon Prime membership. That game, I mean, there's so much chaos, so much fun, and just a fantastic soundtrack. but it's the sort of game that you're not going to spend hours and hours playing. You're going to dip into it continuously over the entire duration of you having that hardware. It's Tempest, but it's more of the same. Jeff Minter game, lots of flashy visuals, exploding pixel art, mind-bending sort of color choices. Yeah, really good. And then this last week, I fired up Hue, Hue, which I seem to own on multiple platforms. I've got like 3 different copies of it somewhere. I've got it on Amazon, I've got it on Epic, and I've got it on PlayStation. And I've not played it on any of the 3 of them. And it's a 2D platforming puzzle game that uses color as a mechanic in order to change the world background to complete each level. So each level is effectively a puzzle. It gave me real Limbo Braid vibes in terms of the look and feel, because it's a black and white world to start with, and then you introduce color slowly as you progress. Braid, and maybe even a touch of Thomas Was Alone, just in terms of how the story is told. It's a nice, easy game. It's exactly what it says it is on the tin. There's no extra glossy bits, but it's fantastic. It was a relatively short game. I think it took like 4 or 5 hours to roll credits. And it's probably the one game that I've genuinely enjoyed playing this month. And yet, without Year of Shame, I would never have looked at it. It would have sat there getting no love at all. So I'm glad I found it. It certainly got me out of the doldrums of what all the other games that I'd tried this month had pushed me into. And here's hoping there's more of them on the list for next month. And that was
Very
it.
Good. I must look at Hue again. I did try it before, but I found the changing colours were quite awkward on the keyboard. So you were saying
you do
play
need
with
a controller,
so I'll try that. After you said it's fantastic, it sounds like a game I should try at some point.
I remember I said Air was fantastic as well.
Oh, that's true. I still have that installed. I've still installed. I must check to see if it does have those things on the map or a horizon telling you where to go, because I could never spot that myself. But Rich, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's quite a short section for me. I spent all my time moving house and then finishing all fall. But I think last month, I was entering what felt like a bit of a lull. I was kind of scratching around, looking for a game to play and looking at the backlog list and thinking, I don't know. Maybe I just want to buy a new game. I was having a bit of a crisis. But I've started playing Outer Worlds, and that has pretty much dominated the games that I've played this month because I'm absolutely loving it. So I must have got it through Epic. I think I might now own it on multiple platforms, despite never having actually spent money on it. I'd put a couple of hours into it years ago and remember enjoying it, but must have fallen off because something new and shiny came out. And I've gone back into it again. And after some initial problems, so I started playing it with a controller, and I was doing it on stream as well. And I remember just trying to shoot anything that was coming at me. That I've fiddled around with the settings, but I'd shoot, miss to the left, adjust, miss to the right, adjust, miss to the left. Like everything it was almost like the opposite of auto aim was going on, and it was super noticeable. It was winding me up. I was like, this is ridiculous. And the people who were watching my stream were just like, this is so painful. Can you do something about this? Like, we know you're not this bad. You're pretty bad, but you're not this bad. So I configured all my input device, my Azeron thing, and got to playing it with that and using mouse, and that completely changed it. So I became combat effective and could just get on with enjoying the game. I had a bunch of kind of screen flickering problems with it as well, because I think it was trying to put FSR on, and that was doing some crazy things. So the beautiful environments in the game were beautiful 1 minute and then flashing the next. So once I'd sorted out those initial teething problems, I kind of really got into it, and I must have put sort of several tens of hours into it, really loving it. I'm zooming around the galaxy. There must be, I don't know exactly how many, but probably mid-teens of locations that you can go to. Different characters you meet have got their own kind of quest lines. You've got the main quest line, lots of side quests. And I'm finding it a really, really chill experience because I've got to the point where I've got a selection of quests that I can be doing, and I can choose them based on, which character I feel like helping or whether I want to move things along. And it's just a really nice pattern of combat, but not super intensive combat. So it's generally combat when you're moving between places or at the arrival at a quest, but plenty of conversations and story building in between. So I'm just finding it like really good to sit down for kind of 2 to 4 hours at a time. And over that time span, I know I'll be able to move the story along, meet some more characters, learn a bit more about the lore, have a few fights, and sort of generally be on top of it all. So I'm having a brilliant time with that, and it's kind of restored my hope that I can get through the year, because I've just sunk my time into that, and where usually my attention would just drift, and I'd like, even in Year of Shame, I'd be like, oh, let's just play something else. And that's always the danger moment when the drop off might happen. I've only done that a tiny bit, and I keep coming back to it. So my intention is that I'll finish it during the next month. And then so alongside that, I've played more Rocket League, which I usually do. I won't say much about it, apart from the fact that it's a brilliant test of new house internet. Because if any game will draw out little flickers of disconnect, it's Rocket League. And you'll find yourself driving perfectly onto the ball 1 second, and the next second you'd have rubber banded and you'll be upside down on the ceiling without knowing what has happened. So I use Rocket League mainly as kind of internet tuning. I played a tiny bit of Arc Raiders right after we last recorded with Kev and Ben, who are in the community. I don't think I played it for 4 weeks now, so I don't know what that means. Part of me is like, oh God, is that me now falling out of love with my forever game, or is it just a circumstantial blip? We will see. And then I have tried one other thing, which I won't talk about because I'm going to save it for when I play it properly. Another thing that I've tried out, it's been in my backlog as I will love this game because I love these games. It's called Shadows Over Loathing, and it's come from a rich heritage. So if you go to kingdomofloathing.com, that website has been there, I think, since my early 20s. So I think it has been in existence for about 25 plus years. And it's basically like a little stickman RPG. And it started as a web-based game. And by the looks of it, you can still go on there, create a character and play in a browser, the first game. And over the years, subsequently, they've released West of Loathing as the first follow-up as a full-fledged game, which you can get on, I think, all the platforms. I think I played it on Switch. And then their latest offering is Shadows Over Loathing. And it's just a comedically written, bit of a kind of piss-take RPG, but it's got all the elements of a proper RPG, but just it's real slapstick, ironic, kind of taking the mick out of its own genre kind of game, and it's a lot of fun. And they're quite big, beefy games, loads of locations. You've got the combat, you've got the conversations, you're chasing quest items, all of that stuff. But it's kind of a chill experience in that, because it's presented in stick men with crazy faces and that kind of thing. It's just a bit of like a palate cleanser, I think, between other games.
I do love the comments on the website where it says, "We've begun the process of bringing Kingdom of Loathing up to 2014 standards and improving the way text on map images displays on ultra-high resolution super monitors from the far future."
Exactly. It's really good fun. I'd recommend, I mean, anyone can try it on a browser, and it'd be interesting to know how that would count klaxon wise. If you're visiting a website, does that count as a new game purchase? Anyway, that's your problem to deal with, not mine.
Yeah.
So that's me for the month. Not a whole load of stuff to talk about, but just shout out to the Year of Shame for kind of making me try and continue with Outer Worlds. I'm loving it. How about you, Brian? Good. You've been in some hefty stuff as well.
So I played and finished Lost Records, Rage and Bloom. I really enjoyed this. It's another Don't Nod game, along the lines of Life is Strange. Yeah. It's sort of a coming of age story of 4 teenagers revolving around a final summer together. Some spooky weirdness happens and they promise never to meet again. Well, spoilers, they do. That's why the game is there. And you play through basically memories of 1995 and what's happening in the modern day. One of the gimmicks in the game is that the character you play records everything on a VHS recorder, and so you end up parts of this a collectathon thing. You could get video of graffiti or of scenery and stuff like this. But that's quite easy to do if you're into doing that type of thing. The game itself is split into tape 1 and tape 2. Tape 1 is way over long. There's a lot of just doing nothing in tape 1. It really dragged for me. You spend all your time waiting for this weirdness to happen, but it takes an absolute age. I know part of it is character building, so you get to like the characters, but it just took way too long. Tape 2 is much tighter and all the better for it, to be honest. There is a bombshell in that tape. It really hit me a lot, basically because of recent stuff in my family life and stuff from work last year as well. So, but overall, the game is really good. Overall, a very good game. I would recommend trying it out. That's Lost Records, Rage and Bloom. I went up to Blueprints. More Blueprints. So I played a couple.
Yes.
I finished. Let me see. Day 7 at the time I wrote this. I'm thinking about day 10 now or something. I've unlocked the garage, and now I start the day with 2 extra jewels. I still find it frustrating. Many rooms have mysteries, and trying to find the mystery in the room is near impossible. Often, like you. I'm not going to spoil any mysteries, but some of them are really, really difficult to spot. You walk into a room, you know there's a mystery there, and at least you hope feels like there's a mystery there, and you spend ages in the room trying to look at everything, trying to see everything. But I found later that some of the mysteries can't be solved. You do them in something in a different room, and then when you go back to that room, something's changed, which means that could be all of the rooms. And you walk into the church. I think it's a church or a chapel or something, and there's loads of stuff in the room. You think, where's the puzzle here? But I don't know if it's in this room or if it's outside. There's the cellar as well. There's stuff in it. I go, oh my god! But there is so much in the game, and I'm finding it frustrating that I can't see where the puzzles are. You walk into the room.
Yeah, it's a hard balance, that whole game.
Yeah, so I've gotten to the antechamber a couple of times now, next to it, and I can't get in because the door's locked. I'm like, I don't know how to unlock the door, so I've got to find it. Find how to do that. Richie, keep.
I feel like I'm kind of pushing you on this game. But I think, and obviously you do you. But if you were going to set yourself a target, I'd set the target not to be right. I'm going to solve this puzzle or I'm going to solve that puzzle. I'd almost set yourself a target of saying, I'm just going to get to day 22. I've picked a random number there. There's nothing specifically significant about it. But by doing that, you can time your runs and be like, I'm not going to spend 2 hours trying to figure out this thing. I'm just going to get through the day. I'll leave this room unsolved and I'll crack on and I'll just finish a day. And I think it's through that repetition that more things become apparent to you. So I think if you let yourself get through some days, even if lots of them are just like write-offs, there's no penalty. Just doing more, you've only completed 9 days if you're on day 10. So you've only had 9 chances to learn. And if you could double that, I don't know. I hope and I think that you'd come back and there'd be a little light bulb right above your head.
Well, I've written here, Rich wants me to play more. And the game
I
hasn't
know, I'm
annoyed me
so
enough
sorry.
to make
So
me give in
pushy.
yet. I respect Rich and I'll keep playing it. So it's on you. It's next month all of this may change. I played some more Returnal in my quest for my ever ongoing quest for platinum in the game. I've played so much of this game. I saw online there's something like 300 rooms across 6 biomes, but when you play, you have maybe instead of what's 6, there's 50 rooms per biome roughly. You will only play. You might see 30 rooms, and the things I need to see are may not even spawn in that game. So you basically play through. I've now just gotten to the point. I play, get to the biome. I need to check if the room is there. It's not there. I just kill myself and start again and go again and again and again to get these rooms to spawn so that I can get through it. Yeah, so like playing that way. Whereas the previous, I don't know, many runs I've done it. I'd only gotten one of these glyphs in one run. I've picked up 4, so I'm getting through it, clearing them all off. So the game is. I don't need to rave about it anymore. It's magnificent. I opened Witcher 3. I finished my mission I was doing with Triss, the one where you get to choose whether you romance her or not. I chose not to. Noble. The rest of the mission worked out well, but every time you see Triss's face after that, there's like tears in her eye. I thought that's a really nice touch. Well done. Her expression changed. She looked angry or whatever when she was talking to you. I thought that was really well done. I don't know if it changed, if she looks like that, if you chose to romance her or not, but the way I played it looked quite good. It was a really nice touch. I had a bad day recently, stuff about home and mum and stuff like that. So in typical manly fashion, I decided instead of exploring my feelings and working through them all, I chose to ignore them, push through, and try to distract myself playing games. So this went extremely swimmingly. I loaded up Witcher 3 again, and I've looked at all the quests I've got available, and it's offhand I've got a load of them, half done. And I remembered some of them I deliberately stopped because I want something else had to be done before I could complete them. But I couldn't remember what. So I spent ages trying to figure out what to do next. And doing this, my mind started wandering. So I thought, this is not distracting me. Close the game. Then I thought, I need some shooty. Arc Raiders. Rich, but you and Ben seem to have had a lot of fun playing this. You've shown videos, having great time playing this. Playing the world, tacting the Arc and stuff. So I've watched other people playing it, and the game looks like so much fun. So, oh my god, Speranza is hell. It's boring moving from one reseller or trader to another to pick out stuff. And I'm not even getting into the loadout stuff, but the inventory management. Anyway, so I up to play. I hit the play button, obviously, and then I get to choose my loadout, where I want to go in my loadout. I pick random loadout and then try to go to deploy, and it won't let me deploy. I usually go to the first area because I know it best, so I keep going there so I can explore more and more of it. And it wouldn't let me go. I don't know what's going on. There's some sort of counter. I don't know what it means. It was like 30 minutes. It was just counting down, and it wouldn't let me in. So I thought, okay, so there was some of the other areas had storms, electrical storms and stuff going on. So I don't want that. I tried the Space Center or something at the top.
Spaceport, yeah.
Spaceport, yeah. I tried to go there and it wouldn't let me go, even though it's on the map. I'm like, why won't you let me go? It's there. But so I ended up going to doing what's it called? It's like a training area. I'll see what.
Yeah.
But that's like, so why not? Went there, and frankly, it's boring. There's like models of the Ark being wheeled across in front of you, and there's some section to do some jumping. I thought, this is not. I'm getting annoyed with this. So I went back to the main lobby and got into Speranza. I'm not in Speranza, into the first area that you start off the game and start playing. I mean, a few minutes in, I'm in a battle fighting some of the Ark and begin to enjoy myself, and then the game crashes. And I got kicked out. Back to the Sony, the PlayStation hub. I thought, what the fuck? So, a second, I'm really trying not to use language, but I loaded the game back up. It went straight back into where I was playing, despite the fact that I had just been kicked out of the game. Had crashed, and I was totally kicked out of it because it's online. the
remembered. Yeah.
arc kept killing me. I kept killing, so I loaded into this, and I'm just basically crawling along and crying out for help, and no help came. So I died alone. A sad reflection on life. But it was, so I thought, screw this, gone. This game's still there. I'm still gonna. This is a game I paid money for, and I'm stuck not being able to play. But anyway, I will play more.
You'll play more. Those counters. Just FYI. So each of the map locations, they'll potentially have a map condition, so like a hurricane or whatever, and certain map conditions give you kind of better loot or whatever. But you'll quite often see 2 timers, and one is a countdown of how long the existing map condition is available on that map if you load in. And there's a second counter, which is a countdown to the next map condition. So the UI is not that brilliant on it. So you can end up in a place where you're selecting the future map condition, if you see what I mean.
Okay.
And that's why it won't let you load in. You're trying to get into a thing that isn't ready yet. But because there's these 2 timers, they kind of look the same because they're both counting down. So it's, so it can be confusing, but that'll be why. Yeah.
I find it frustrating. The game is, when you get out there playing and shoot and attacking and crawling, you're right, the attention ratchets up really well. It's like playing the early days of PUBG. I used to get really freaked playing that. It's good, a good game, nice shooting, great shooting. But oh my god, it's just trying to play the game. But I paid money for it. Let me play the game. Just get rid of the whole Speranza. Have one currency. You collect stuff. It's automatically turn to currency and buy whatever I want to get out. But yeah. Anyway, that's Sony. If you're listening, this is how you make Marathon more effective.
Did you see the news article this week about Arc Raiders, though? Where they discovered that the developers expected that when everybody got into the game, it would all just become this survival of the fittest, shoot everyone in the back, take as much as you can, and get out of there. And the way that people are playing it now has become more of a, let's call it a male mental health thing, or a buddy bonding thing, where
So
everybody's looking out for each other, and everyone's happy to help you and give you a hand up, and not. I mean, there will still be the arseholes out there that will go and lob grenades at everybody and take as much as they can. But in general, most of the players are not playing the game the way the developers expected them to play. They're actually being nice to each other, and that's
being nice.
Yeah, that's a great thing,
Yeah.
And it's Australia apparently is the most significant friendly region.
Really? That's surprising.
So it's absolutely why friendly it is, where literally everybody is really, really nice. I loaded in on an Australian server when I was playing with my sister who's down there. And it's like a next level of friendliness. So there were other players running across the map, and they were just announcing everything that they were doing. It's like, no, now I'm going over to this building. And I'm like, okay, that's nice. And now I'm going to this building. I was like, thanks for the update.
We're simple folk down here.
Well, they haven't got social media, so this is what they've got to do instead.
No, we don't.
Yeah. It's been banned. Anyway, because I got killed in that, I just searched through my PlayStation what games that I had installed, and I found Prey. I thought, why not? Prey. Started the game. You get told to put on your clothes and go upstairs to a helicopter. This I did, and just to try it, I jumped into the blades of the helicopter, and I got my trophy for instant death. So that was quite cool. I restarted and hopped on the helicopter and went along. You end up in some lab, and you got a big long helicopter journey. It reminded me really of, excuse me, Half-Life, the train ride in Half-Life that you get to see the scenery and stuff. It felt like that, except Half-Life was more interesting, to be honest. You get into lab, there's like an enemy appears at some point, but before the enemy appears, you get music kicking in, so you know something's going to happen. It takes away any surprise. Right? I went through with all the test lab, and you finish that, and you end up restarting the day again, and everything sort of goes along. But you pick up a wrench, not a crowbar like in Half-Life, but you pick up a wrench, and you break through the let's say the third wall, whatever you break through, and you find out you're in a lab. You move into the background, and it's a bit Portal-esque. And I thought this, and as I said before, every time you come close to the music ramps up. You know something's there. There's no surprise, and a few whack of this crowbar, and everything's dead, or not crowbar, wrench. Everything's dead. And I just thought the game began to feel boring. I know these characters are mimics and they can appear to be a cup or whatever else, but if you're going to warn me before I get into the room that there's going to be an enemy there, I just, I don't know, I lost any interest in playing the game. So this is like the third game. But so I would move to Fortnite. I'll try some Fortnite because that's just basic shooting. Loaded up Fortnite, and then it wouldn't let me play. It said to restart the game. It was an update I had to go through. Restarted the game, and it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me in. So I checked the down, what you call it, the update is 28 gigs. Oh, crap. After a while it downloaded, and after you open it, you go, that's one thing that really annoys me with Fortnite is you open it up, and then all I do is play zero build. So usually solo or groups, but it's zero build. And then you open the game, you've got to click through, no, I don't want the latest game, not Game Pass, but whatever. I don't want it. And I know if for some reason I've been given loads of stuff, I'll claim it, but I don't want to equip it. Just let me. And then you've got to search for the mode the only mode I've ever played in this game. You've got to try and find it. It just takes ages. 10 minutes later, I've started the game. I played two or three games, and that was it. I was done for the night. That was the bad day. Let me see. Ever since I picked up Elden Ring again, I'm still progressing. This game is truly magnificent. I started the week. I've just killed I had just killed the Godskin duo. So if anybody's played the game, you know roughly where I am. According to people online, I've been talking to on the Soul Video Games Discord channel. I've been talking to them, and they mentioned that there's 4 mandatory bosses left to finish the game. And I checked this before just now. I have 521 hours in this game. So I have 4 mandatory bosses left, and I can finish this game. But instead of going for the 4 mandatory bosses, I started looking for the optional bosses because why not? Anyway, before we started the show today, I killed this optional dragon that's hidden in that level. So it's just, the game is brilliant. I know I keep going for the optional stuff because I don't think I'll ever come back to this game once I've finished it. I think I've put so many hours into it. I don't think I could stomach starting again. So I keep going around looking for everything else. The whole point behind these games is you get your souls or your runes. They don't mean anything to me because I've leveled up so high. And I can farm them, and in 10 minutes I can get 1 million runes. So I can if I want to upgrade, I can do. It's not a problem. But so it used to be whenever you started, I used to play this at the start. If I had no runes, I'd explore like crazy. Then when I had a lot of runes, I'd get really, really careful. Now, just explore. So if it looks like the ledge, I'm off, trying to jump off, trying to go off. And the game is brilliant. If you explore, there is so much in there. And there's always enemies or something there to come across.
And to be honest, that's the difference between an average game and a good game, though, isn't it? Is that you can get lost in the world. So the fact that you're doing that and you're losing yourself in that world and spending as much time as possible there is a good thing. It's not. The intent is not to just smash through the games and complete them. And I realise that I'm the one that's saying that, and that's exactly what I tend to do. But but you should be enjoying it. And so if you're going off on all these side quests and loving the world, then hey, keep doing it.
Yeah, it's because I don't care about it was the whole worry about losing your runes and having to go back and get them again. Now we don't need to care about them. Just wander, and it's brilliant. The game is excellent. There are you have all these bosses, but to be honest, so far the worst things have been characters called Crucible Knights, and they're just littered all around. Not all around the place, but in several places, and they're absolute buggers to kill. But other than that, you just wander around, and it's great. I don't know. I've found the game to be excellent. Yeah, that's like you have I've written down the music, the audio, the world, the battles, all brilliant. So I love the game. Anyway, that's all I've played. Doesn't sound like much, to be honest. But yeah, that's all I've played. We'll go on to news. We had an absolutely amazing news list given to us. I'll start off with one story that I found. I sent this to you guys. There was a 91-year-old lady in Ohio. She's part of an Are You OK program. So like her daughter couldn't get in touch with her, so she got in touch with the police. They tried ringing, couldn't get in touch with her in the house. So they sent out the police to visit the house, expecting worse. And when they go in and get into the house, they find the lady sitting there playing games, and she's trying to beat her record. And she's just been ignoring the phone. And I think it's a gaming granny for the win. It's just absolutely brilliant. That's where I want to be when I hit 91. Just playing games. It's quite cool. But anyway, was there any other news stories that you guys were interested in or stood out to you?
I think the big one is the Xbox Game Pass. I mean, I've had my head very much in the sand. So all of these news articles that Stuart shared are news to me, apart from the Xbox One. So they've brought down the price of Game Pass, haven't they? From, I think it's $30 to 22, and I think that translates UK money from about 23, 24 pounds down to 16.99, and it's kind of like perfect price drop, really, where in equal measure as it was a stupid price rise. I think it was pitched, everyone was saying it's the best deal in gaming and all of that kind of stuff, and it was, for me at least, it felt pitched just right. It was kind of like a high level Netflix subscription, sort of similar cost, and you'd get your range of games, stuff to play. It felt like good value over the course of a year. And I think when they put it up, it was before the Year of Shame this year started, and I knew I wouldn't be able to play the games off it anyway, but I cancelled it kind of before the year started, because I was like, well, I object to you charging me the best part of £25 a month, because you can buy a AAA game every 2 months, and that's, $6 a year actually feels like, that feels like better value to just go out and spend that rather than play what you've been served. But now it gets back down into that kind of threshold of, well, it's good money. I look at it as being, it costs kind of double Humble Choice or Humble Monthly, whatever it's called now. But obviously you've got a huge breadth and variety of games and day one releases as well. So I think that's really good news. They've cut Call of Duty out of that for future releases of it, which bothers me 0%. And I expect bothers Call of Duty players not at all either, because I think they probably buy it. I think people who are into it would buy it. They wouldn't get an annual subscription to get their game. They just wait and go and buy it, and they probably don't play anything else. So it felt weird trying to munge them in together, because all it's done is put the cost up. So good news, a rare bit of good news out of Xbox.
Yeah, one of the articles that I had on my list of things to focus on this week was and I don't know if anybody in the listener group was playing Stormgate, but Stormgate server suddenly disappeared. And what had happened was that the company that made Stormgate was bought out by an AI hosting company. And the comment I've got here on this article is, first they came for our video cards and we were okay with that. And then they came for the RAM and it was a little bit irksome. But now they're taking our game servers, damn it. And we won't stand for it. The other interesting articles that we had since the last episode was there's apparently a new God of War game being talked about. And the difference with this one is it's going to be across all mythologies they're talking about. But your character will have a sidekick that's described as a gelatinous cube. And I don't know what that means. Anything else that you guys noticed this month?
Not for me. It was just the Xbox news. Oh, what is this? Vampire Survivor follow-up launches. Yes, that one actually stood out. So they've got a card-based kind of version of Vampire Survivors. So it's meant to be well, the things I've listened to suggest it's like Slay the Spire, but Slay the Spire kind of played at 4 times speed, so almost like a light version of that. And I mean, Vampire Survivors is a ridiculous, addictive game where you're like, I shouldn't enjoy this, but I do, and I love a little card game. I think that's what I was talking about in January, was the Astrea 6-sided dice. It kind of sounds like that turbo version of that. So that would have been however much, $9.99 spent, if only I was allowed.
None of you had a planned Joker of Disney Princess My Fairy Tale Adventure, did you? Because it was just Disney delisted a whole bunch of games from Steam with no warning. They're just gone, and nobody knows why they've gone.
No,
I mean, I don't think any of them are going to be award winner AAA's titles, but a strange thing to do, to just delist a whole bunch of your games with no warning.
Rockstar had their Snowflake servers hacked, and they decided not to respond and just allow the data to be published, which is very Rockstar. And the other good news, a new Uncharted game.
Yeah.
Which would be cool.
Nobody knows anything about it yet, though. So is it going to be a prequel, or is it going to be his daughter that's going to take over as the main character?
Yeah, I was wondering if it was going to be the daughter take over. But a prequel they could do. And they could, I suppose there's a whole host of things they could do in the prequel. Him and brother.
Yep.
That type of thing. But I loved the very last game. I thought was the one they've actually achieved. The one where the hidden freak isn't all that much. It's the 2 ladies doing it. I can't remember what it was called. But that had the whole story, the excitement, the shooting, but also had proper maneuverability for playing, for moving, and for climbing and stuff. It was much better than the previous games. I really liked that game.
Yeah, they're all good.
Wow. I'd love to see a new one. Yeah. Tim Cook is gone. I don't know what it'll mean. Do you guys use Apple hardware? Just speaking with Tim Cook, no. I had an iPad for 2 weeks, maybe, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago. I was given a loan of one to try out, and I didn't get on with it. In work now, in the new job, I've been given a laptop that's 4 or 5 years old and can't be switched off, or it may not switch on again, which is great because some software needs updating and I can't get it to update, which is yay. So so they gave me an iPad, and while it is a nice bit of kit, it is to me it's so unintuitive because I've just grown up with PC and Android, and I just find it really frustrating using it. So I don't know. Anyway, that's just my mini rant about Apple products.
It's just like it's like growing up speaking a language and all of a sudden everything's different. It's hard.
Yeah, I've got to edit videos, or I don't even just editing. I create slides and stuff using Canva and just moving images around and trying to shrink them, and not having a mouse, not having what's called a touchpad on the case that I've given us no touchpad. It just becomes. I'm there pushing stuff with my finger, and all the things just sliding across the screen. I'm like, no, just get smaller. I'm like, fuck.
Can you not sync? And this might sound stupid given what an iPad is, but can you not sync a Bluetooth mouse to it?
Maybe.
I'm fairly sure you can. Okay.
We don't have them. Everything's tied down. I can't do anything.
Right.
They did give some of the teachers wireless mouses, or with Bluetooth mouse, but they've stopped doing that. They've just gone back to regular mouse. I don't know why, but yeah, they're all. I don't know. It's quite awkward because having a wireless mouse, if you're doing a presentation, is quite handy. You just click a button on it and it moves the slides along. But they've all gone to cabled ones. You got to stand beside your laptop. But annoying, but yeah. Anyway, that's just mini rant for me. So, do you want to do games this month or next month that are coming up that you're interested in?
All right. So,
Stuart.
Coming up next month, obviously Forza Horizon 6 is coming out. We can race across Japan and wave at Brian as we go past, you know?
Hey.
There's a new Bubsy game coming out. First one in 30 years. There we go. Bubsy 4D.
Bubsy. I don't know Bubsy. Bubsy.
It was like a generic sort of bad guy character that's animal but also person type thing. Just odd. Anyway, the other one that sort of caught my eye this month is a game called Stone Machia. And I'd not seen anything about this until it appeared on the Games Radar list of releases for this month. It looks like a Souls-like hack and slash, but you play a pawn, and in your attack moves you can change the different chess pieces, and each one has got different skills. When you look at the gameplay in the video, it looks great until you see the pawn moving, because he's just hopping across the map, and it just looks very strange. So those are the ones that I saw coming up this month. Oh, Zero Parades for Dead Spies comes out next month. And that's made by the guys that made Disco Elysium. So any Disco Elysium fans out there, I'm sure will be snapping this one up. And I'm looking at Rich's displayed posters behind him where he's got Disco Elysium on the wall.
Yeah, I got the Disco Elysium. The trouble is they've had such a kind of torturous end to their studio, and I think I'm never up on exactly which ones the good ones are and which ones the bad ones are. But I think Zero Parades has been made by potentially the baddies in the whole scenario. So it's really tricky, because I really want to play it because I love Disco Elysium, but I think politically I'm not supposed to. So we'll see. We will see. There's another game coming out next month called Directive 8020, which is made by Supermassive Games. So they're the ones that do is it Dark Pictures Anthology, and did all of these kind of narrative ones where it's basically a horror movie and you're playing as all the characters and going through decisions and choices and trying to keep everybody alive. And I think this one is based quite heavily on The Thing. Oh, so it's based in space with thing-like monster, and it's been on my wish list for I don't know how long, more than a year and a half. And I've just learnt this week it comes out on the 12th of May. That sounds good. So that's another one. Little tear is going to roll down the cheek as it comes out.
Yeah, I saw Mixtape is coming out in the next couple of days. It's made by Beethoven Dinosaur, who made, oh my god, what was the game? The Artful Escape. That's it.
Ah, wonderful.
It's, basically reading from their blurb. The title is inspired tonally and visually by the 1980s coming-of-age film similar to the work of John Hughes. It looks good. I really want to play this game.
Ooh.
So, looking forward to seeing that in January. Coffee Talk Tokyo is coming out. I played the first one, and that was really good. Coffee Talk Tokyo, the second one is on my backlog, so I should get onto that. What do you think of the 007 First Light?
Bond, baby. Bond,
yeah.
It's going to be, I mean, they're not going to let that game fail. It's going to be a good one, I reckon. The title, or the heritage is too big to be bad, I think. So it'll get an appropriate amount of testing, and it'll be an appropriate level of quality. Fingers crossed when it comes out.
It was the people who did Hitman, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
and you can see that when you look at the gameplay video. I mean, it certainly shines through that it's got that Hitman type aesthetic to it. But yeah, it looks good.
Does it look like its own thing though, rather than a reskinned Hitman?
And it's not trying to be a 007 game based off a movie. It's its own thing there as well. So it's
yeah, great.
Yeah, I watched the very first trailer, but I haven't watched anything since. It did look quite good. Yeah, so hopefully it'll be great in 6 months' time. And then the only other one is Saros, which for me anyway, and that's in a few days' time. Returnal was excellent. It's excellent. But I've been nervously waiting for this one to come out to see how well it's been received. The reviews seem to be quite good, in the high 80s, according to Metacritic at the moment. I was worried whether they could do it again after that. So I hadn't played any of their previous games. Not played much of their previous games anyway. So I was really worried whether they could do it again, and whether they'd have the same level or same type of control. But it seems to be doing quite well. Some people have said it's too easy, which I don't know. We'll see. I don't know don't think they have difficulty levels or like FromSoft, so it's just one level to play the game. And some the Guardian passed a comment, so their review saying that the storytelling is quite bad, or the way the story is retold to you. So yeah, but other than that, it seems to be doing quite well. So I don't know. We'll have to see whether I'll buckle or not. It's the only game. I'm trying to finish the other stuff first. I'm trying. We'll see. But other than that, yeah, we'll see.
So that's Housemarque Games, yeah?
Housemarque, yeah. I think they do Resogun or something like that in the past.
Did, yeah. Resogun.
Yeah.
To be honest, I own every Housemarque Games game on the PlayStation. And I am absolute garbage on all of them. So the very first game they brought out was Super Stardust, and it was excellent. But there's just so much going on that screen that you can't keep track of. You need to divide your brain into two. And then after that was Resogun, which is sort of a side-scrolling, almost like what was the game from the 80s where you'd be scrolling along and you'd have to drop down and collect the little men and save them from the alien invasion while you were going backwards and forwards across the screen. It's like that, yes, but you're going round like a tubular world. But again, so much going on. I could never get into it, but I loved the short bursts of play that I gave it. And then, yeah, as I say, I bought everything else, got to Returnal, absolute garbage at Returnal, couldn't get into it at all. And chances are when Saros comes out in the new year, I'll probably go and buy it, and I'll be garbage at that as well.
Like when I first started Returnal, like the sounds are really creepy, and like this game was like a scares or horror type game, but it's not. It's just pure intense shooting. It is quite good. Yeah, I don't know. I've liked the game a lot, and it's the movement of that game for me is set the standard, and it's ruined other games for me because I just freak. If you don't have that same level of control or movement, it really freaks me out. So yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping Saros is excellent. So we'll see. Should we do questions? If that's the games, or was there any other games that you guys? Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
One question before we go into them all. Stu, you came up with the thing about the top 10 games.
Yeah. So Gamerant published their top 10 games of all time, and that got me thinking as to what our top 10 games of all time were. So I know you guys have gone through and you've got your list. I've populated my list, and the games that I've chosen them for advancing the state of gaming rather than flashness or hype. And so a lot of these games tend to be either the first version of this genre that came out, or the one that I view as being a baseline for that genre. And so the first one was obviously Elite on the BBC Micro. And Elite Dangerous on the PC for being the same game with lots more graphical bling. This is a game that I still dip into every so often, and I could probably play this game forever. It blew me away back in the 80s. It blows me away right now on Elite Dangerous when you get into that game and you get lost in the fact that you're not actually driving a spaceship, if that makes any sense. You know, the viewpoint you get when you're coming into the docking stations is just so detailed, and you fly inside it and you look around you and the world is just so complete. I'm amazed by the way in which this game has gone from that original wireframe graphics into where it is right now. So that's my top one of games ever, I think. Number 2, I had Skyrim. How could you not pick Skyrim? It was another fully fleshed world. You were free to go and do whatever you wanted, wherever you wanted. Just off you go, and you were on your own, completing the story in whatever order you wanted to complete it in. Number 3, good old Space Invaders, the original. Without that, would any gaming devices ever have existed? It was the thing that was in every corner shop. It chewed as much spare change as you could throw into it, and for such a simple game, it got everybody hooked. You know, I threw so many coins into that, along with Moon Patrol and Ghosts and Goblins at our local corner shop, that I reckon I must have put the guy's kids through university. It was just it drew you back over and over again. Number 4, I had Tomb Raider, the original. Forget the dinosaurs and the unrealistic perkiness. It was the way in which they would introduce an element of our level with no loading in between levels that you were sort of seeing. So you'd run down a corridor and then it would open up. And I think it was probably not in the first one. It would have been in the last Revelation. You go down this narrow little corridor and you walk into this cave and you've got an entire sphinx sitting in front of you that you then have to climb up the face of. And that level of depth in what was a 3D world that we weren't really that familiar with using 3D gaming with, again, just blew my mind, you know? Number 5 for me was The Sentinel. It's the game that I still go back to now. 10,000 levels. Try and finish them all. I'm going to do it one day. The Sentinel Returns was a lot easier. It was only 1,000 levels, I think. But you had to do every single one. And I did it. But I will finish the original one day. Number 6, I picked Loom. I don't know if you guys ever played Loom. It was a LucasArts game where, much like Monkey Island, you know, it was sort of side on. You had the little commands down the bottom that you picked from. But you also had a music element to it. And there was an adventure game like any other adventure game. There's plenty that came after, but to me, the way in which this was implemented, I thought was just the perfect LucasArts game. And it never features very highly in anything else that you see in terms of LucasArts work. But for me, that was the one that really shone. Number 7, I've picked Wipeout. This is probably the one game that made gaming mainstream. You know, when they produced it, Sony basically put a whole bunch of PS1s into nightclubs and loaded it up with Wipeout. And it changed the world's perception of what gaming was all about. It made it mainstream. It made it something that everyone could actually pick up a controller and just dive straight into. And I think it probably makes Sony's sort of involvement in the gaming industry now what it is. Because without it, we would still just be, you know, bedroom coders and bedroom gamers, and not as widespread an interest as it is right now. Number 8 for me was Assassin's Creed. The first Assassin's Creed game I thought was completely different to everything that had come before it. The various iterations that have come out every year just about have either been moving it forward or lost their way a little bit. But in general, the parallel game world and the real world stories sucked me in and it's let me go, not let me go for more than 20 games, most of which I've either platinumed or completed all the single player trophies on. I don't tend to do the multiplayer components of Assassin's Creed games when they come out. But the single player bits, I love every single one of them. One that's on your list, Brian, and I know you haven't got to quite yet, is Cyberpunk 2077. The way in which this progressed the storyline, the character development, the graphical chops, it had everything. You could pretty much do whatever you wanted in that game. And the writing quality I thought was really strong in it. Certainly in the original game and in the add-on DLC, I thought was 100% sci-fi, cyberpunk genre true. There was no shortcuts taken that I could see in that story. I loved it. And I think it's turned into something very special. They were one similar to No Man's Sky that had a bad launch, but they've certainly invested the time and effort into turning that around and making it something truly special now. And then my last game is a game that I don't know anybody else ever played, called Swiv 3D. It's one of these games that came out in the late, it was probably 1996 it came out. You get a combination of a helicopter and a tank, and you're on like a 3D map. And I still go and load it up every so often now just to play through, because I love it. It's hard as nails. There's zero storyline. It's basically just blow everything up. I think the Swiv component it's number 4 in the Silkworm gaming series, and this was the 3D iteration of it.
Ah.
But I just love it. It's still one of my favorite games, even though it's now more than 30 years old. And that was my 10.
Nice.
What about you guys?
Rich, do you have yours handy?
Yeah, I do. I've approached it in a different way to you, Stuart. So you've gone for kind of influencing the gaming landscape, whereas I've just gone really like introspective, which are the ones that I just enjoyed the most. So I have got, and these are in no particular order, I've got Resident Evil, the first one, just because it was at the time, I think it's PlayStation 1. super amazing graphics for the time, having voice acting, no matter how comedy it is when you look back at it now, felt incredible. Just a brilliant game, and definitely my favorite of the whole lot. I've got Micro Machines, so this was Sega Mega Drive, and I remember it mainly just because I'd sink day after day into it at university, trying to better a lap time around a bathtub versus my mates at the time. I've also got Tomb Raider, the first one, on there, just because it, like you say, the size and scale, and it just all felt absolutely epic. And again, it graphically at the time, it felt like a step ahead. I've got the first Red Dead Redemption in there, just because it's, again, an epic storyline. Really, really good fun. And I super enjoyed it, much more than I thought that I would. I've got Clair Obscur, which, depending on how the rest of your year goes to it, you'll either agree with me or not. But superb. I've got Rocket League. How can I be playing a game for, I don't know, 6 hours a week for 8 years straight? Just absolutely incredible. I've got Disco Elysium on there because that game is just so beautiful to look at, so absurd in its storylines, and it's a real journey. Like, getting to the end of it, you feel kind of emotionally drained once you've got through it. So that's on there. I've got Detroit Become Human. So when PlayStation started putting things out onto PC, I started getting in amongst it. So I was late to the party with that, but what a game that is, in terms of having to make critical decisions in a short time frame, and then immediately seeing the consequences of your actions playing out. Absolutely superb. I've got Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, I love all of the Grand Theft Autos back from the original top-down ones, but I thought 5 was just so polished, and I can't wait for 6. And then I've got Ark Raiders on there as well, for all of the reasons mentioned over the last few months. And then, of course, having done the 10, I was like, oh God, but what about all the ones that didn't make the list? So I've put honourable shout-outs to Wasteland 3, which is a bit of a weird choice, but a great big, funny, well-made RPG that I really enjoyed. And again, any game that I sink 100 hours plus into, a kind of narrative game always leaves its mark on me. I've got Heavy Rain on there, which I played immediately after having played Detroit Become Human, because made by the same people, and I was like, give me more of this. And Heavy Rain's superb. And then the final honourable shout out to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, because it's great. And again, I would have been buying the remake, which is coming out in a couple of months. Yeah. I'll have to wait. How about you, Brian? What's your 10?
You probably guessed. A lot of people probably guess this. Number 1, Returnal, is magnificent. Number 2, Elden Ring, also magnificent. Number 3, Mirror's Edge, which I said before was, I think it started this year, was probably my top game, but it's down to third place. All 3 of them give exploration, or reward exploration. Returnal and Mirror's Edge have really good freedom of movement. Elden Ring, you do have somewhat. Jumping is not as good as I would like it to be, but you also get the over-encumbered thing, which I really hate in games. But the game's still great anyway. Number 4, The Artful Escape, is just pure joy. It was great music, and I don't think there's a fail state in the game, but you can just do less well. But the game is brilliant. It's pure happiness. Ghost of Tsushima is number 5, which again is just more exploration. I love the world, love going around, the scenery, everything. It was just amazing, beautiful game. Number 6, going from a game that's pure joy to a game that's really, really sad. Gris, I think it's called. I loved the color palette, the music, and the story in that game. It was really good. Number 7 was just pure action. There was a story in this, God of War 2018. I did really, really enjoy that game. Number 8. Do you guys know Last Day of June? Or have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
No.
It has really beautiful graphic style. It's quite unique. I haven't seen much like it before. The story is really sad, and there's like a twist or something that catches you at the end. It's quite good. Part in the middle drags out a little bit, or quite difficult, some of the puzzles, but the story, the start and the end, really, really excellent. I loved playing that game. It was really, at the end, really sad. Number 9, I've got Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. The first couple of ones, because the game I really got into, online gaming, was part of a clan. Enjoyed that. So many nights just playing that game with people from all around the world. And the final one I've got is Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us Part 1, or whatever you want to call it. The very first one's The Last of Us. I liked the game, I liked the story, but controls were dreadful. I remember struggling in fights because I just could not get used to the controls. The Last of Us Part 2 sorted that out. It felt overlong, the Part 2, and it's the first time I've ever hated a character that I was playing and deliberately killing them when you switch characters partway through the game. Honourable mentions, Witcher 3. Witcher 3, once I finish it, may make it into the top 10. A game that many people know is called Halfway to the Lamppost. Don't know if many people know, it's an itch.io game. It's basically a short horror twine game about fear. You play as a character, she's walking down the street and to meet to her friend's house, and you and your friend are going to meet, supposed to meet each other halfway, which is at the lamppost in the middle of the street, and darkness is following the girl as she's going on the street. So it's all about building tension. It's graphically extremely simple, but it's quite a good game. And then finally Titanfall 2, which is a really, really great action game. Yeah, and I loved the time travel mechanic for solving puzzles. It wasn't unique, but it was done very well, and it has been often copied since, but it was a really good action game. And that's my top 10.
Nice one.
Yep. Have you got the questions handy, Stuart?
I do, yes. So
I'm asking this question, have you? I know you have amazing notes.
All right, let's start with the first one, which is from Paul Wilson, Season 13 host, who posted on our Year of Shame group and on the Seal Podcast Discord. We're across you, Paul.
You called that as well. They should have answered yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
It was yesterday, the records. Yeah.
So the question was, Game Pass prices drop. Was the subscription price getting out of hand? Is the currently reduced price about right, or should it be cheaper? Some people seem to be complaining that Call of Duty will no longer be a day one edition, but failing to do the maths of £6 times $12 saving. You want to go first, Brian?
I think you're right. The math, they've just basically removed the cost price of COD from the Game Pass price. So I'm not on Game Pass. I've never used it. I have been extremely envious of it. I think it was great value. It is expensive, though, I will admit, compared to the PlayStation offerings. It's quite expensive. You're talking £20 a month at the moment for the game, which I think was the PlayStation's is probably £14 or maybe around that. Still quite a bit expensive. You do get the day ones, which is a huge thing. And for me, it was the indies. The number of indie games you had every month coming out was just amazing. That was why if I had a PC, I would be looking at getting the Game Pass PC for it. Is the price right? I think they can set the price to whatever they want. I think, I don't know. Pricing is definitely getting out of hand when you're hitting, was it $25 a month or £25 a month for the game? That's just extreme. I don't even know if I've answered the question.
No, I think you have.
What was the actual question?
The question was, do you think it was getting out of hand, the price of them? And you're right.
Yeah,
I think
it's definitely getting out of hand. It should be cheaper. I want it to be cheaper, but they need to make their money. They're not making money on consoles. And so this is what's keeping people in the Xbox ecosystem. And if a number of people stopped their subscriptions because the price went up, they were damaging their own ecosystem. So people start moving abroad, but elsewhere. So yeah, I think they needed to reduce. They were smart that they only removed COD and then removed the price of COD. If they went lower, it would make it even take another $2, another £2 off it. they would make it so much more attractive to people. But yeah, I think it's probably where it should be at the moment, and it will keep people in their ecosystem. That's me talking a lot about and answering the question. Rich, do you want to come up with something sensible, please?
Yeah, I mean, I can say to Paul what I said in the feedback that I gave when I cancelled my subscription. I don't normally write lots of feedback, but I felt strongly enough to write a bit of an essay on it. And basically I said the price as it was initially was a complete no-brainer. So for myself and presumably lots of subscribers who would just be playing games as a hobby and getting Game Pass because it totally supports that hobby, lets them play some of the big hitting games they've been looking forward to, but also just dabble in and amongst all of the indie stuff that comes out. It went from being a complete no-brainer, and they raised the price so steeply that it became something you had to think about. So I would think nothing about dropping my 14 or 15 pounds to support my hobby, because that felt like great value. Once it hit 25, it's kind of like, well, I need to actually think about this, because this is like becoming proper money. And all they've done is put it up and past that threshold. So I cancelled and they brought it back down. So January the 1st, if it stays where it is, it'll go straight back on the list.
See, there's a shorter, more sensible answer than what I said. Thank you.
I mean, from my perspective, I don't own an Xbox, so it was never really something that I thought affected me. I didn't realize I had Game Pass until my son pointed out that I'm paying for it for him. But that's more of a reflection on the proliferation of subscription models across all of the entertainment platforms. So, if we look at what we pay for every month, you're paying for Netflix, you're paying for Disney, you're paying for Amazon Prime. We've got HBO Max. We've got Binge, which is like Aussie version of Sky. We've got Stan, which is a local streaming service. All of those are subscription services for television and for movies. And then on top of that, we've got PlayStation Extra, which is the top tier you can get down here. We don't do anything above Extra. You got PC Game Pass, Epic, Amazon Gaming, Steam. All of them are it makes finding things to watch or play just that little bit harder, regardless of what you're paying for them. So, I mean, we need less services and more consolidation back to the, not quite back to where you had one provider, but certainly I think we need some way of consolidating everything together and making you aware of what subscriptions you've actually got active. I know that way back in the days of Midlife Gamer, Matthew Moore was always getting in trouble because he would be paying for his Game Pass 2 or 3 times at once. I think that some level of control and consolidation and exposing those services to you in an easy way needs to happen, and make it easier to find what you want to do in the 5 minutes that you might be sitting down at the computer and try to find something to play. And price-wise, yeah, you would think that competition would drive that price to a sensible level. So that was the first question. Second one, Blair Ferguson on the Earshame Facebook. As the days go by, we face the increasing inevitability that we are all alone in the godless, uninhabited, hostile, and meaningless universe. Still, you got to laugh, haven't you? So given as it stands just now, none of you have used your wild cards, i.e. Joker, Gift, etc. Have you earmarked a particular release to wait for, or are you just playing it by ear? If you've got a specific title in mind, what was it that swayed you towards this, i.e. a developer you like or an installment in a franchise? And if you're playing it by ear, do you think you will use it, or maybe go the year with 0 purchases? Rich? So
for me, I rightly or wrongly have decided that I'm going to go entirely clean for the year. So I'm planning a 0 Joker, no excuses, no gifts, no nothing. Whether that is the death of me in Year of Shame terms or not, we'll see. But I do feel like maybe compared to, and this might be completely wrong, but I feel like compared to people on seasons 1, 2, and 3, we've probably got such a breadth of choice just through time elapsed and collections having grown. We've got such a breadth of choice that I feel personally that I do not deserve a little pass into something else. There's enough knocking around there for me to entertain myself for 12 months. All that said, as I mentioned earlier, I have daydreamt during the past month of just sacking it all in. I was like, what will happen if I just stop and go on a buying and playing frenzy? Like I just won't look at the group. I won't see the vilification that comes. So yeah, that's my answer. How about you, Brian?
My answer ties into a question that Dave Packer had mentioned later on. Saros is coming out next week. Surely it's Joker time, and this is the only game, and I'm really, really trying to resist. I've watched one video. I read a few of I didn't read the actual reviews. I read shortened versions of the reviews, because I don't want too much information coming in. And I've seen a few comments from people who are talking about the game, but I've muted the subreddit for Saros, so I don't want to see what's going to come up there. I'm going to try to go without it, but if people keep posting about how great the game is, I think there's a high likelihood I could fall for it. My one problem is if I do, it'll be the next 4 months of me playing that, and I'll come on here and say, "Oh, Saros is great. How about you? What other games have you been playing?" and that'll be it for me. So yeah, if I wasn't doing this, it would be day one, and I don't remember the last day one game I bought. You're going back 15 years probably for a day one game that I bought, I think. But yes, I don't typically I don't typically follow the devs. Like I have don't not games, and this is Returnal and Housemarque, and I've been really nervous about whether they could do it again. So I haven't really been focusing. I'm trying not to focus on it. But yeah, this is one I may fall for, but I'm trying not to, because I want to keep. I've just realised I'm watching myself in the video and I keep moving, and because I feel really uncomfortable talking about this game.
The physical struggle is happening.
It's real.
You guys watching me, you can see me. I'm just stretching. No, this game. I am going to try to resist this game as much as possible. If I get past this game, doesn't matter what comes out the rest of the year, I won't fall for it. I won't weaken. So yeah.
Just remember, you said you wanted to finish Cyberpunk as well. So what's the Billy Connolly line from The Wall? If you don't eat your meat, you don't get your pudding, or something like that. Treat this as your pudding.
There's Cyberpunk and Baldur's Gate, and then Disco Elysium. They're my next 3 after I've completed what I'm doing now. So yeah.
Right.
Good. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Cool.
I can't be any clearer than that, Blair.
From my perspective, I got nothing earmarked, and nothing making me feel like I'm missing out currently. There's a couple that have come out this year that will go to my Jan 1 list. So things like Crimson Desert and the new Black Flag remake, but they're not tempting me to the point where I've got to go out and buy them right now. So I'm still good. Next question is from Bob Normal. If you could take one genre of game to Desert Island, what would it be? From my perspective, it's not even a genre, it's just a specific title, and that would be, as I talked about earlier, Elite Dangerous. I mean, in the absence of other temptations, I would play that all day, every day. It's just such a strong game, and I could play it for months and just not get tired of it. So that's my answer to that one is, just Elite Dangerous. What were you, Rich?
I'm just imagine what would happen if you took Animal Crossing New Horizons with you. And so you were stuck on a desert island whilst also playing this kind of endless desert island game. It'd be the ultimate torture. So I think, given that I was on a desert island, I think I would have to take kind of narrative adventure games. So, super massive games and Until Dawn and stuff with a start and an end. So you get some sort of closure. Because if I feel like if I took an endless game, I'd be stuck on a endless desert island playing endless games, and I'd feel lost. So I'd want closure. What about you, Brian?
A genre. I think it would have to be Souls. I've only played the one, like Elden Ring. I think if I was stuck there for a long time, I might actually get to play through Bloodborne and finish it. Maybe. At least I could give it a good try, and I'd like to try the other ones as well to see how I get on those. But yeah, it would probably be Souls type, or from software games. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Another one from Paul Wilson. This one on the MLG group. So sharing the love around all the groups, Paul. If you go to a nice restaurant, excluding regular fast food burger places, and you order a meal that includes some kind of burger in a bun, are you going to use a knife and fork to eat the burger in the bun? Brian?
If it's one of those fancy burgers that has the little stick in it to hold it together, and it's so big you can't get your mouth into it, I will break it down easy with knife and fork. But the problem is, even if you do that, you still can't. You end up breaking the burger in half. It just becomes, I don't know how to eat them properly. I try, but I won't. If it's like, some of them, they're giant burgers, and so no, I will go posh and eat it with knife and fork. Yeah, you can't get. This point is you can't get your mouth, and even if you squish them together, this doesn't happen. You just end up, yeah. But the problem, if you eat knife and fork, it just falls apart, the whole thing. So I don't know how you're supposed to eat them. Rich, I'll pass it on to you for more sense.
Yeah, so I'm the kind of person that I'll hand back that cutlery and ask for extra napkins, and I'll just go in messy.
Smart move.
I think it's the only way.
Yeah, I'd written down here, I take the burger out, eat it by hand, and then eat the bun with a knife and fork. Seriously though, always a knife and fork. It's a safer option than having to spend the rest of the night with your burger down the front of your shirt, It's interesting when you can't eat wheat though, because what you get given as a hamburger, those buns they barely last the time from coming out to the kitchen to get into your plate before they turn into either a rock or just a pile of mush. And you're never actually sure when you order a hamburger in a restaurant that's gluten-free, whether it's actually going to come with any bread of any form. So I've ordered a hamburger or a cheeseburger and been brought out the burger with cheese wrapped in a lettuce leaf, and looked at it with serious disdain and not being able to send it back, because that's theoretically what I asked for when I asked for no bread, So yeah, didn't appreciate it. 1 star, but that's what you're left with. So knife and fork always for me. Next question from Ross Grieve from season 11. What's your gaming or other media guilty pleasure? What's your biggest gaming-related achievement? And would you rather have invisible toes or an invisible penis? So much to unwrap there. My guilty pleasure is probably Stargate SG-1. I love that series. There was 214 episodes of it, and I watched every single one of them, even when it was obviously starting to decline in quality, and they all just looked like they were phoning it in. My biggest gaming achievement is probably finishing The Hobbit on my ZX Spectrum in the days before the internet, with no hints and nobody to talk about it with it at school. And to the last question, definitely toes. Why would you go any other way?
That's
Brian, what about you?
It's other game, guilty pleasure, media guilty pleasure. I would go along with you, Stargate. I love those type of sci-fi shows. So Stargate was a huge show. I've watched again all of the episodes multiple times. Really good series. I watched the follow-up ones as well. They weren't anywhere near as good, but I still watched them.
Yep, same.
I'm missing a show like that now, to be honest. But yeah, I liked them. Biggest achievement for gaming? Oh, God, I don't know. God of War Platinum, probably. My first ever Platinum. It took me ages. A lot of doing the same battle over and over again against the Valkyries, and Invisible, having been told. I was going to say having been told, where is it? I prefer the Invisible Toad. So, Richard, how about you?
Yeah, so guilty pleasure, it's got to be watching Married at First Sight on the telly. So it's one of these reality shows where couples get put together having never met each other, and then they go through a series of honeymoon and then living together in a flat and all of the adventures that ensue. So this is the kind of this is the program where my missus would be watching it while I'd be doing something else, and I'd be giving her loads of grief saying, what is this absolute rubbish, awful, trash telly, brain rotting. But secretly, and not even secretly, I'm paying quite a lot of attention to it, thinking this is actually really, really good. So now I'm a full convert to that kind of telly. Gaming-related achievement is going to be, I think it's going to be completing Tomb Raider in one sitting. So this was back in the days where to get hold of a PlayStation, well, you used to have to rent. Well, the way I would do it is you could spend £5 at Blockbuster and get a PlayStation 1 in a hard case that you can rent for the weekend with a game. So did that, got the PlayStation, got Tomb Raider, and it was this needs doing basically because it's got to go back. So just literally, me and a mate, we sat down, played Tomb Raider, went kind of through the night, and literally to the point, and I'm not joking here, to the point where we were so tired that we ended up lying on the bed with like heads kind of lolled over backwards over the bed and turned the TV upside down so that we could continue pushing through with the right orientation despite being
a real
essentially
gamer.
asleep.
Legend.
Yeah. And yeah, so that was good. And I am team toes for the invisibility thing.
Okay.
All right. Facebook MLG, Dave Packer from season 8. Source coming out next week, Brian. Surely it's Joker time.
Yeah, as I said earlier, this is the one I'm trying to resist.
Physical struggles recommence.
I'm going to resist this. I hope. I'll try. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, depends on the reviews and what people say. So Dave, keep quiet. Don't be sending me messages about how good it is. Yeah. You guys even thinking about Saros? Would you like it?
No.
I've seen
No.
just everybody shaking their heads.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
See the previous conversation around Housemarque games.
Yeah.
I'd love to love them. I love how they look, but I just don't get engaged in the game, and I end up frustrated instead and turn it off after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Last question that we had was from Stuart Whitehouse from season 8, and background legend for every season that's been. Have you held back playing a game until it's been patched? I'm balls deep into Cyberpunk 2077 because of the recent PS5 Pro patch, and it's so much better than before. From my perspective, definitely. I tend not to wait for. I tend not to buy any day one games. I prefer to let them work out those bugs before I dive in, and let somebody else go through all the pain. I probably couldn't tell you the last day one game I ever bought. Yeah, it's just not the sort of thing I do. What about you, Rich?
It's funny Stuart mentioned Cyberpunk because that's the first thing that came into my mind. I've mentioned it before. I bought it for Xbox. It stayed in the cellophane. I think I bought it, got home, put Twitch on, watched some people streaming it, and saw the struggles that they were having with that game. So I left it in the cellophane for years, and then even until it was out on PC and patched, at which point I then sold the still cellophaned Xbox version for more than it was going to cost me to buy on PC. So I made some money back on it. And I did start playing it last year, and it looked great, and it's very much on my list. It's been long enough for me to probably go back and restart it. I think that you get the 3 characters, don't you, with different paths into as the lead in. So I might just choose a different character because I'd only just got to the point where they kind of meet anyway. So there's that one, and then a shout out for one other. There's a game, another kind of extraction shooter kind of game called Grey Zone Warfare that I got very, very excited about. I think it's set out in Asia, sort of jungles and that kind of thing. And I did what I do. I'm the opposite of you guys. I'm very much a day one or pre-day one. So I lumped a silly amount of money into the founders, mega send me all your money version of Grey Zone Warfare. And the devs are spending that money right now. I think they've got as far as 0.4. I played it for a couple of hours at 0.1 and was like, this looks like it could be everything I want, but very much isn't right now. It's been coming on leaps and bounds, but I know that having spent the money on that version, it's just waiting for me. So it'll be long after this year of shame is finished by the time it gets to 1.0. But by which time it should be great.
Okay, cool. Brian?
I don't tend to play day one games. I've been a patient gamer for a long time. I can't remember the last game I bought day one, so every game I tend to pick up is definitely well over 6 months old. So I don't tend to, not a problem really for me, to be honest.
Cool.
So think we've hit time for Rich, so we'll have to finish up if that's all right.
And that's the questions that come to an end as well. So thanks to the community for those.
Yeah, we'll start the socials here. All right, that's the show. If we got something wrong, which is very possible, I'll admit, email us at yearofshame@gmail.com. If you want to find us on the internet, it may be a mistake, but we support you. You can find us on the Year of Shame Facebook group. Yell at us on Twitter, or more politely on Blue Sky. We may stream on Twitch, follow just in case. All of this is at Year of Shame. And we're on YouTube at MLGYOS. No video yet. Mostly for the safety of the viewing public, to be honest. And then do you want to do some shout outs? 2 shout outs. One to Chinny for comment about my mum. Thank you. And to the guys on the Veteran Gamers. And shout out to Brad Galloway, who's feeling quite rough today. I was talking to him earlier on. So, Lovely Games podcast. Okay. With that, I'll say goodbye. Goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me. Thank you, everyone, again for your questions. And you too, it's been lovely catching up with you. I'm sorry I have to run off straight after the recording, but I feel like we get through so much. I feel like we're fully caught up. And I'm very much looking forward to kind of getting back on the horse and now that I'm interneted up and I've got my gaming room. So I'm hoping that next time I record, whether it's more games or not, or just more hours in the same games, but either way, I'm looking forward to a really good one.
My shout out is I've got some buddies that are not gamers that have started listening to the podcast. So if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. And so a shout out to you guys, to Matt and to the local gaming guys, Jason and the team. And that's it from me. So cheers all.
Okay, see you. Thanks a lot for catching up, and thank you for making it this far if you made it this far, everybody. Okay, see you. Bye.